So, you know, when we were having this, you know, my thought came when we were starting, the thought came to me when we were starting to bring into existence the Tara altar. It took me back to when at Vajrayana Institute, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, actually the last time Rinpoche visited now, 2014, had given the advice to create a Tara wall and a mural. And so over 3 months, we had a Tibetan artist, beautiful artist, who came, and he was the main artist, but other people helped in. Geshe Zopa was very proud that he did the waves. I did the waves. And then all around they had Tara mantra around it. So it's a different representation because it's a mural and it doesn't have pillars in the middle of a wall and all sorts of things like that. But subsequently, when that was consecrated, Geshe gave a commentary about the 21 Taras, you know, and that inspired me to able to introduce in the same way that Geshe introduced to us. So today we'll be doing that, and also looking at Ken Rinpoche Lama Lungrup Rix's commentary on the 21 Taras, thubten children's commentary. So using those as the sources for today. And just thinking of our great blessings, this Tara image was offered by Drupal Australia and presented, I thought it had his, by their Lama, and I haven't got his name here, but on the 25th of November, he wanted to offer to, or they all wanted to offer to the Tara altar. So we can subsequently, perhaps, you know, if we want to, we can decide whether we want to make it into sort of like a classical tanka or to offer as is. So everyone can have a contribution as to where we think we should place our beautiful offered Tara. It's already consecrated.
It already has the surrounds and the top.
Yes, it has that, yeah. So it is actually, it looks like it's a temple, so we don't need to. So anyway, a couple of spots I've looked at over here, or alternately above here, but it feels like a bit further away from the altar. So in these, around the windows. So please contribute. Of course, I'm a Libra and I want everything balanced. So, and I'm not like, oh, that won't be balanced, but hey.
The middle pillar, is that what you're thinking?
No, because the middle pillar has to have the, that's Geshe's instruction. And also because that Tara is going to be raised up. It's going to be come up to quite a ways up, equal to the other Taras. No, I'm thinking down on this side of the stupa. Anyway, please, all suggestions welcome. Such a beautiful offering. Okay, so, and then today, I thought we'll have, we'll go to from to 11:15 and then have a break, then have another session till 12:45. What time do you need to leave? 12. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then we start again at 1:30. Right. So great. We'll make sure that things are set up. And then 1:30 to 2:30, 3 to 4. So they're sort of an hour, not all an hour long, but about an hour long sessions. Okay, so just introducing a little bit about the Tara practice, the practice of the 21 Taras. So the Tantra of Tara, there are extensive and intermediate and condensed lengths of the Tara practice. So we're familiar with the praises to the 21 Taras. So that's the most condensed form. And this was taught by Buddha Varachana. So Tara is we can say, an embodiment of the knowledge, compassion, and power of all the Buddhas. So in the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga, for example, we see that Lama Tsongkhapa inseparable from those three powerful Buddhas, from Manjushri, the power of wisdom, from Chenrezig, the power of compassion, and from Vajrapani, the power of capacity, so the power of all the Buddhas. So we can equally regard Tara in that personification. In fact, specifically the enlightened activities of all the Buddhas, their sort of swift energy, enlightened activities. That's why she's got her right foot out, ready to jump up and come to our aid. So all of that appears in the aspect of Tara. It's sort of like all the Buddhas have passed to her all of the power of all their enlightened activities. We can say that all the enlightened activities of all the Buddhas are the same, but nonetheless, this is her speciality. So there's many different stories about Tara in Sutra and Tantra, and perhaps we've read about or heard some of the stories about Tara. So the first one I read about Tara, I think it was in Sultram Alioni's Women in Buddhism, and it was about Geshe Zopa. So this was a story told by Tara Buddhanatra to Venerable Mapa. So Geshe Zopa, Buddhanatra said, countless eons ago, prior to Shakyamuni Buddha, this is the background. Countless eons before Shakyamuni Buddha, in many primordial universes that existed at that time, this Buddha Natra arose. And Geshe Zopa had this particular connection. So Geshe Zopa was a princess, and she was exceptional in every aspect, exceptional intellect, exceptional beauty, great luminosity. And anyway, she had faith, great respect in Buddha Natra. And for a very long period, she made extensive offerings to Buddha Natra and to all the Buddha's retinue. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about with our dear teacher, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and one time being at the airport in Brisbane with Rinpoche, and I can remember this about sometimes the retinue, the entourage, don't get given the offerings, that they go to the Lama, but not to the entourage. And so, of course, I started out with Rinpoche, then I go to Venerable Roger, and he goes, no need. And he gave it back to me and then went, oh no, I'll accept it, then I'll offer it back. This is what we do. And then he suggested maybe I give to one of the other entourage. So I gave to, of course, I was giving to all the other entourage as well. Just that thought that, yes, to offer like that. And Geshe Zopa was a prime example of that. And so after doing all these extensive offerings over a very long time, she generated the mind of bodhicitta. So we talk about the contrived bodhicitta, which is what we do, refuge and bodhicitta, we remind ourselves of our motivation and so forth, but the uncontrived, spontaneous bodhicitta that's just totally oriented towards all other beings. Like Lama Zopa Rinpoche, never a thought for himself. It was always about others, always a gaze out towards others and helping. So at that time, this retinue of Buddha Natra, and there are many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who praised her extensively, and this was a historic moment in the history of Tara, and of course they indicated to her, well, now that you've reached this exceptional amassing of virtue, it's so immense, that you need to be thinking about dedicating your merits properly, so that, you know, so that you reach the state of a bodhisattva, so that you can benefit so many sentient beings. And so think about that. Think about how to dedicate your merits. And they specified that she prayed to be reborn in a male form at the end of this life, that if she could come back as a male in the next rebirth, that would be incredible benefits to sentient beings. Of course, with our, you know, sort of feminist ears and so forth, of context of today, we could say that, well, that sounds sexist. But you've also got to think about what was most influential at the time, and in terms of who was being listened to. So if we think at the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, that Shakyamuni Buddha was radical in equally giving ordination to males, females at the same level, of not, you know, the cutting across the caste system. And these were all radical moves. So this is already countless eons before that. And it seems that patriarchy goes back a long way. It would seem. Anyway, so of course, you know, as they were urging her, this would be an appropriate dedication. And her response was, you know what? There are already so many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas manifesting in male form. Like, why do I need to add to that? You know, there's a lot of you already. So that's where she took the vow to always take female form, lifetime after lifetime, to liberate sentient beings. So she made that pledge at that point. So when you're on the Bodhisattva path, whatever pledges you make, then when you become a Buddha, that becomes your speciality. So like Vajrasattva broke so many vows and has had so much difficulty that he vowed to always help other beings who had that same difficulty with needing to, so hence purification. She didn't ordain. She remained a princess in the palace, and she lived a very long life. And at some point, so she conjoined the, you know, 5 sense pleasures of sense, with a very skilled practice of concentration, and achieved the path of seeing. So that was in that life. And then she developed the concentration to liberate sentient beings, and was able to very quickly liberate many sentient beings and establish, you know, their benefit. Hundreds of thousands of sentient beings every day she liberated, and every night. And then as a result of that, she came being known as Drolma. So we think Drolma is, you know, when Drolma is Tara, it's the same meaning liberator, because she had liberated so many beings. And she also made a couple of vows in front of Buddha Amoghasiddhi, and one was to always rely on this concentration of being able to liberate beings, to protect sentient beings, and always rely on the concentration that destroys the Maras, especially the fear created by the 4 Maras. So when we look at the actual practice, it talks about the 8 fears. So she worked very hard for 95 eons and focused all her effort from saving sentient beings from the fear of the Maras. So we know when, like at the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, when the Maras tried to intervene, I'll come to that. I'm skipping ahead. It's all right. So as a result of that, she became known as Numo Palmo. So Numo is that capacity to liberate quickly. So she's known for her quick, swift energy to liberate beings from the fears of the Maras. And Palmo means like heroine. You know, when we look at the verses of the praise, you know, we talk about swift heroine. because she did that so extensively. So in other eons, in the presence of the 5 dhyani Buddhas, she promised to develop the powers of the 5 dhyani Buddhas in front of them, and therefore became known as Lama Droma. So Lamo is like Dakini, we would say, and then Droma, again, liberation, so liberation Dakini. And then also how Tara came about is shown in one of the first verse of the 21 praises. So in this silver book, we have, the chantable version that we do. So I've got it open at page 155 randomly. And swift heroic, which we've just talked about, eyes like lightning, sprung from opening stamens of the Lord of Three Worlds, tear-born lotus. So the opening stamens of the lotus of tear-born lotus. In the literal version is on page 192. It says, whose water-born face arises from the blooming lotus of Avalokiteshvara, protector of the 3 worlds. So that was when Avalokiteshvara, Chenrezig, had been working for eons to liberate sentient beings, and thought, well, samsara must be empty by now of suffering. And then what he saw with his wisdom eye was that there was more suffering sentient beings in samsara, and that the afflictions were stronger. So we could say that today is more like that's what's happening today. And so it's just like, oh gosh, what would Chenrezig be saying now? How many tears would be coming? So that was a moment of total disappointment, and with a tear. So there's 2 stories. One is that a tear came to either eye, and then out of those tears, they turned into nectar, and then lotuses opened. So one story is that too, that this became white Tara. So white Tara that we practice, that we do, is not in the entourage of the 21 Taras. So it's not that practice, it's a separate one. In any case, we're focusing on this one. So there's 2 stories about that. One is that the lotus appeared with 21 petals, and so you had the main lotus, the main Tara, Candravani Tara, and then the 21 around on all the petals. Another one just refers to the main Tara. So either way. And Tara, let's stick with the main one, said to Arya Chenrezig, don't worry, I'm going to help you, and made that vow to help. I'll help you to establish the well-being of sentient beings. You have my help, like I've got your back, and her swift energy. And so Tara said, I will vow to protect sentient beings from the 8 types of fears, 16 types of fears. I mean, we could go on with the number of fears that we have, but in the general fear of samsara, so that whoever meditates on me, we offer that protection to. So that's important for our practice, that we have that protection of Tara because she made that vow. So there's countless stories of that, of Tara protecting many beings, of Tara interacting with many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And at that time, when Shakyamuni Buddha was, practicing the ascetic path and not taking sustenance, and we have the image of the ascetic Buddha with, sort of, you only see the ribs and there's not much flesh. And that is a very powerful image. When the Dalai Lama was teaching one time in Sydney, that was the image he wanted of Shakyamuni Buddha. And one time with the Liberation Prison Project, with the calendar, and what we would do, you would have all these images and then ask a Lama which one to put on the front cover. And that was Chodron Rinpoche said, must put the Shakyamuni Buddha, the ascetic Buddha, on the cover, so that it has a huge significance. So at that time, as we know, he hadn't eaten for 6 years. And now we think about those lamas who practice Chulen, taking the essence. So like Geshe Lama Konchok, for example, of engaging in those ascetic practices and being nourished by flower essence, or, not taking physical sustenance. Actually, I remember the Buddha boy, some years ago. There was a so-called Buddha boy in Nepal, and he was practicing these ascetic practices. He wasn't taking any sustenance. And, people coming to pay respects, and so eventually they put a fence around him, like to protect where he was. And then eventually it became too touristy, so we went off into the forest and continued in there. Don't know. Yeah, it was years ago, wasn't it? So it's quite inspiring that in our lifetime we see those practices manifesting, and those beings manifesting. And so then Sujata, who was the young woman who offered sustenance to the Buddha, was a manifestation of Tara. And when the Buddha was sitting, and they say under the Bodhi's tree, and they say in the first quarter of the night he saw his own past lives, second quarter of the night the past lives of all other sentient beings, and then overcame all the Maras, and then at dawn arose as an enlightened being. So I remember seeing this film of these Maras attacking the Buddha. So the image sticks in my mind. First of all, there were all the warring ones coming to attack, and that would be, we would be very fearful of that, right? And he just sat in equipoise. And then there was this, that didn't work. So then there were the seductive temptresses, that didn't work. So, the Maras manifesting different forms to try and interrupt the Buddha, which didn't happen. So Tara was said to intervene there and block their activities. Okay, so this comes more to the iconography. So this is at the time when Chandra Kirti was at Nalanda Monastery, and he was in charge of the stores for, supplies for the monks, the shop stores, whatever. And there was this old woman who it was, well and truly time for her daughter to get married, but she was very poor and couldn't raise a dowry. And somebody said, why not go to see Chandra Kirti, because he's got all these stalls and must have money and all of this. So she goes there. And he says, I don't know why they sent you to me. I've got nothing. Like, all the stores here, they're not mine. Therefore, for all the monks, I can't give you anything. And he says, but go down to that house. So she goes down to this house, and she sees this old monk who's in very humble abode. There's really nothing there. And she says, oh, well, I don't know why Chandra Kirti sent me here, but here I am. And that was Chandra Mohan, who was a great practitioner of Tara and had direct realization, couldn't talk to Tara directly. But of course, she didn't know any of that. Anyway, she says, oh, well, he sent me here, so I might as well give it a go. And so she makes the request, and of course he too says, I don't know why he sent you to me, because I've got my robes and I got my begging bowl, and she was very upset. She started crying, and so he had great empathy and thought, what can I do? What can I do? And he said, oh, well, he had a Tara on the wall, and he thought, well, I can pray to Tara. So I thought, okay, well, I'll pray to Tara. And so he did. So when he prayed to Tara, Tara responded, and she started taking off her jewels and saying, "Oh, take this and give it to the woman. Take this and give it to, here's another one, give her that. Here's another one, give her that." And so this huge bundle of jewels, which he then offered to the woman. And then she was like overjoyed because now she had all these jewels. So she goes happily off, and he's happy to have helped her out. So her jewelry wasn't just ordinary jewelry, very exquisite. It was sort of like the most pure, the most expensive, the most rare, not even heard of, and dripping with radiant colors, the most beautiful jewels. And before that day, the paintings of Tara always had so many jewels, beautiful jewels, abundant jewels. And after Tara handed over all her jewelry, then the tradition got established at Nalanda of Tara without jewels. So you'll see that is a tradition was a tradition at Nalanda. So of course we have Tara with jewels. So there are different traditions. So ours is the following in Etisha tradition. So we always see Tara with jewels, and we think the jewels representing her realizations. So Tara is a main practice of many of those great practitioners. Chandra Kirti himself, who was said to be able to get milk from milking a drawing of a cow. Like to have that city. And there was a great scholar in Tibet, Newman Deva, in Sanskrit, Surya Bukta, who had a special connection with Tara and composed many of the sadhanas to Tara. And of course, Lama Atisha had a special connection and lineage of Tara. So, having been just recently in Indonesia, we were able to, there are many Tara images in Indonesia because of the time of Lama Atisha being there. And like near Borobudur, there's one Tara temple, which the first time I went, we could go inside. The second time, we couldn't go inside. The next time, we couldn't even go inside the fence because the temple's crumbling. And this last time we were there, we managed to, the security guy let us go inside, but the steps don't exist. So you've got to clamber over all the rocks and you go inside. There's no statue there. So you've got to, you sort of visualize Tara as she would be, of course, as if she's there. Of course she's there, it's her abode. And of course doing praises to 21 Taras. So, anyway, so we know that Tara is very powerful. I know with working with prisoners, they all seem to be really inspired to do Tara practice. Maybe they took the word liberator, swift liberator in the wrong way, but it worked, whatever skillful. So there's many ways to approach the practice of Tara. So we have the different practices in Kriya Tantra, action Tantra, which is generally based on the praises to the 21 Taras or reciting the mantra. And then in highest yoga Tantra, we have the different methods and sadhanas composed by Nagarjuna and Surya Bukta. And so in highest yoga Tantra, so in Kriya Tantra, we see that the Taras are all represented in a similar aspect, right? And, with the right leg out, there is one, as you see in the praises, with her left leg out, but generally, and when we acquired or were offered these Taras, that itself was don't want to say miracle, but it just was, the synchronicity was amazing. So Tara Mawani in Malaysia, so she's a very long-term student of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who had consecrated these statues. And so that was in her house. But she wanted to have, she had got some other taras, which I've subsequently seen. It's like a big tree of taras. They're all around like this. It's beautiful. And so she had this set and she was looking for a home. And we were looking for taras. And at that time, we had got in contact with Kopan. At that time, post-COVID, there was no parcels going in or out of Nepal. So yes, we could order, but when would we get, right? And so in the meantime, Tara Mawani offered this. So when we came to install them, you know, I was trying to get the colours in the right order and then go, oh, we haven't got one of these, but we've got too many of those. And so I said to to Geshe Zopa, I did my best, you know. They're not exactly, you know, when you read and see the images are not exactly always the right colours. And he said, you don't need to worry. Lama Zopa's consecrated them, so they're bringing blessings to the place. Because often when you do get the 21 taras, you've probably seen in places, they're all, you know, if they're all made of brass or whatever, they're all the same cut. They're all golden brass. Yeah. Anyway, so this is our Tara altar is not complete. So very kindly, Ros designed the auras for them. And then we're putting lights. I was just looking the other day at the ones at ABC that they created with the down lights. And so we're looking at that. And then Geshe Zopa last time said to print the verses of each one and that people could like sponsor a Tara, sponsor those. I'm saying for the committee members here. So they could sponsor it because they, you know, that's establishing a connection with that particular Tara. This is what we did. We did that at Vajrayana Institute where people sponsored particular Taras in the mural. It's, you know, we had this artist there for 3 months. And yeah, so, but just that aspect, it's not just about, oh, good, we'll get some money, but it's actually the thing of establishing strongly that karmic connection, or maybe activating that karmic connection that's already there with a particular Tara. So later on, we'll go through each one. So every one has, in highest yoga tantra, they have different aspects, and that's what I'll go through later. So they have a different, they all look very different from each other. Of course, we know they all have different colors. So this action tantra aspect comes from Lama Atisha. Yeah. And so it comes from visions that Atisha had, where Tara explained what each one represented to Lama Atisha. So when we look at the verses, it's through that has come directly from Tara, from the direct realizations of Tara. Okay. So we could say that there are almost countless ways of depicting Tara, and it's recorded that there are 108 different expressions of Tara, or 14 or 7. For us, it's the 21 Taras following in Lama Atisha's tradition. And it's also according to the needs of practitioners. At different times, Tara will appear in different aspects of expression according to particular needs. So the central Tara we talk about being of the Kadira, sort of like that emerald green. You've got that kata, pretty much that colour of that kata, or the colour here, emerald green. It's a lovely Tara image that Lama Zopa Rinpoche created. And some of you may know this, but when Lama Zopa Rinpoche would go around to centres and look at the representations, and if they weren't 100% correct, he'd make changes. I remember one time in New Zealand where the leggings of Tara, he said the leggings are not the correct colours, and so they had to be redone, for example. So every aspect is not by chance, it all has deep meaning. So the Kadira forest, so Kadira is a medicinal plant, and that's how Tara got that name. So her body being this intense emerald green, idea of it being lush, forest green, lush, pristine. Khadira. So in the practice, it says Kandaravani. So that's the green being. So we think about that being, basically it means Tara of the Kadira forest. So another explanation is that she was actually, that's where she was, that was her abode, was the Kadira forest. And that was filled with, various different creatures that she liberated. So many creatures came to know her, and they came to be known themselves as the beauty of the Kadira forest. So the praises to the 21 Taras are part of a bigger ritual. So when we do, of course, the practice here, we're actually doing a highest yoga tantra practice. The offering of Chittamani 4 mandala practice is a highest yoga tantra practice. This is one that Lama Yeshe recommended that we do, and subsequently Lama Zopa Rinpoche recommending that we do that practice. And for us who do, if we don't have highest yoga tantra, if we don't have the Chittamani Tara initiation, there's a part in it where you will rise as the deity. Just looking for that, self-generation, page 143. You don't do that. But we visualize Tara above the crown. In the practice, generally like the practice of the 21 Taras, you do the, you visualize Tara above your crown. Again, when you do like it used to be at Chenrezig Institute long time ago. Now they do the Vajrasattva retreat between Christmas and New Year. It used to be the Tara, and so that was that visualization, the Kriya practice. So, of course, it doesn't matter how long, how short the practice is. We still generate, recite refuge and bodhicitta as we do in the front there. At the beginning of this Tara Puja, we take refuge just in the normal way, but we see that Tara as the object of refuge, embodying all the qualities of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, all the body, speech and mind of all Buddhas that exist. And she becomes the main object then. Tara is referred to as the mother of all the Buddhas. So everyone who's ever become enlightened has done so by relying on Tara and her enlightened activities. So in it doesn't mean literally physically giving birth, right? It means by her practice, we've followed the enlightened activities. So one verse has that, you, the mother of conquerors, your qualities of body, speech, and mind are renowned in the whole world. May I also quickly develop such qualities for the sake of all sentient beings. So this is the aspiring bodhicitta, because we're aspiring to achieve the enlightened state. in the aspect of Tara. Okay. So that constitutes aspiring bodhicitta. And then this is in the simplified, it's not simplified, simple practice of Tara. So after the break, we'll go through some of the slides and get to that point where we describe that and then meditate on that. So we've got that meditation. We meditate, we might just stop there because this relates to that. Any questions, comments? Not today. Haven't got time for that.
No, but
we could do that as a separate thing, actually, because the Tara Meditation Center is white Tara. Droka.
oh,
Yeah, that's white Tara. Even though as soon as we hear Tara, we think green Tara, isn't it? Yeah. So they're called Tara, but it's white Tara because they were previously Mother Tara hospice.
Yeah.
And so it's that Tara. Yeah. No, yeah. So Tara, yeah. So that's that, for health, well-being, long life, and so forth. Yeah. So maybe we'll take the break there because this rest would go better with the slides once we've got the slides up. So we can take a tea break. Just pause. I think that worked nicely. So we're going to go through all the different aspects, but in general, as we said, so this is much sort of more deep green, isn't it, than like this one?
Yes.
So we're going to go through all the different aspects of the holy body. What's happening here? Something is happening. Yes, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So the jaws. In general, representing accomplishment of the 6 perfections. So you're always, she's got armlets, anklets, earrings, and the necklaces. So you can't see clearly on this image, but you'll see that Buddhas have these 3 sort of like folds in the skin here, marked. And that represents, so a being that has a representation represents Buddhahood. So you see that on Buddha images, so 6 perfections, and then the necklaces, having the 3 necklaces, the 3 types of generosity, of giving protection is her speciality, giving protection from fear especially, giving the Dharma, of course, and giving material, as we heard in the old lady story who needed a dowry. but also with the, represent the Kendira, like this colour being that medicinal herb. And then the anklets and armlets representing discipline or ethics, so ethical control, which also comes when we look at the legs. So here it says the green colour represents the wind element, indicating the speed through which Tara responds. So when we look at the colours in prayer flags and so forth, this colour green put something in the way. Get rid of you. Good. So in terms of the generosity, just going to that, the main thing is bestowing the supreme siddhi of enlightenment. So we'll come back to that. I'm toggling between the two files. So her leg out, as we said, ready to leap to the aid of sentient beings, the right leg. The right hand shows the mudra of fearlessness and granting refuge. So she has the left hand. So that right hand in that mudra. The right leg extended, the left drawn in. So when we visualize her, we visualize she's our ultimate object of refuge. She, in the lower part of her body, she has that sort of loose skirt. The upper body layers of scars, and she's dressed in divine materials, and her face is very radiant, beautiful. Her eyes very smiling, beautiful, whole body beautiful. So next one. So she's holding the stem of a upala flower between the thumb and ring finger, like this, and then she has shows her three fingers up, represent the three jaws of refuge when it says the knowledge of 3 times, past, present, and future. So there's and also indicates her supreme enlightenment, the union of method and wisdom. So the left hand holding the upala flower between, as we said, and the flower, her hands are at the level of her heart, and the lotus is at the level of her ear. And we'll visualize her appearance as like 16 years old, we say, in the prime of youth, vibrant with youth. And on to the next one. Okay, so before we go on to that one, I'll just say a few more things about her representation. It's okay. So there is a thing, like there is as it says, there's many different representations of Tara. Check here in our practice. Yeah, so if you look at page 139, you'll see in that one, there's a lotus in the left hand and the right hand. So that often in highest yoga tantra, you see there's 2, but in Kriya tantra, usually 1. Now, it's not sort of hard and fast fixed thing, but generally like that. Now we can go back to the previous image which showed her whole body, the one before that. Yeah. So you can't see clearly here. I don't know if you can see clearly here that her she's got her hair, half her hair is tied up and half down. So the tied up bit also well ornamented with hair ornaments. You know, again, we think of them being realizations. So regardless of their representation, all those jewels that represent her realizations, and they're radiating intensive light. So when we visualize, we want to visualize like that. Sitting, when we, the left leg drawn in represents control over energy. Sometimes it says sexual energy, but in general, energy, being able, having a sort of ethical constraint. Yeah. No, she's got the crown jewels.
So it is a crown.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at, you know, a lot of pictures of Candrela and how she wears her hair, like that, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, that was part of
very much like that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to, we'll just go through this practice and then actually do a visualization of that. So here next, the one short practice. So this is a practice through FPMT that you can get easily. It's a very simple one. In fact, when Geshe Zopa was at Vajrayana Institute, he composed a sadhana that had, you know, this became our Tara Puja practice, very much like this one. And until, of course, we had the instruction for Chittamani Tara, you know, for the centers. So here we have like Lama Tsongkhapa. So we're connecting that we're in the tradition of Lama Tsongkhapa, and we're connecting that, our practice, with that. So visualize the Guru in the aspect of Lama Tsongkhapa, inseparable, and at the heart, green Tara, at the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa. Next one. And so again, thinking that Guru, inseparable from Lama Tsongkhapa. Yeah, maybe this light doesn't work in the daytime, sorry. The white is not good. So this image here of Lama Yeshe actually comes from, that's why it's a bit faded, a Tara practice. So this visualization comes from that practice. My Guru is seated in full lotus, as with a transparent bubble aura, we would like to say, of coloured light. This is Lama Zopa's words. Pink is in complexion. So often you see this pink in complexion. It's that you see that like with Lama Tsongkhapa, white and red, so being pink in colour. Wearing saffron robes and a pandit's hat. So here he's in that aspect of a monk. His right hand is at the heart in the gesture of teaching the Dharma and holds a vajra and the stem of the white lotus that blooms beside his right ear. And then the left hand resting on his hip, holding a bell and the stem of another white lotus. So this is the highest Yoga Tantra aspect. So next one. And then, so we visualize that's the rainbow bubble. This is Tara in the rainbow bubble. And the Om Ah Hum, that when we're doing the practice, we visualize the light from Tara coming, entering, purifying, you know, white, red, blue. So the Om Ah Hum, we visualize everything in the nature of the light. And we'll unpack this a bit. Next one, at her heart is the lotus and moon seat on which stands, so at the heart of Tara, at the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa. And then at her heart is a lotus and moon seat on which stands a radiant green syllable tum. So tum being the seed syllable of Tara. So on that lotus. Rays of green light, next, radiate out in all directions from the tum, invoking all the enlightened beings of the 10 directions. And they all absorb into Arya Tara to become one. So when we have these rays of light radiating out and absorbing back, that's generally, it's very prominent in highest yoga tantra, but there's no qualm in us doing that practice because it's Lama Zopa has given this as a general practice.
We also do that. Yeah.
And in Gandhana Gamma, yes.
Goes out like this.
Yes, the 7 wisdoms. So it's all visualizing, going out, collecting back, going out, collecting back. So for example, the first one, you have all the manjushris going out from the heart and absorbing back into the body. And as they come towards your body, they turn to face the same way as you and like dissolve like, you know, raindrops into your body. Yeah. The next one. So this is connected with the Omar Hum. So from her brow to yours, white light purifying the body. From her throat to yours, red light purifying the speech. From her heart to yours, blue light purifying the mind. And just the next one might be a bit faded out. Give it a go. Oh no, it works. So this is visualizing her above the crown of your head, and we're thinking about this white light soothing, purifying, healing the body. And then we have the practice here. Bless me to purify all the obscurations of my body, speech, and mind, to become one with Guru's Tara's holy Vajra body. And then we visualize that white light from her crown arcing around, entering my brow, and our body is completely purified of all obscurations and becomes one in essence with Guru's Tara's holy Vajra body. And the next one, so we're going to do this practice. The speech, soothing, purifying, and healing. So from the heart of Guru Tara, from the throat rather, the red light. Please bless me to purify all the obscurations of my speech, so become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. And we visualize the red light emanates from the R at Tara's throat, curves in an arc to enter my throat, and my speech is purified completely of all obscurations, particularly in relation to speech, and becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. And then the next one, the blue Hum, soothing, purifying, healing. Please bless me to purify all obscurations of my mind, so become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind. And we visualize the blue light emanates from the heart of Arya Tara's heart, curves an arc and enters my heart. My mind is purified of all obscurations and becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind. And then finally, looking at anything, any vestiges, any sort of sneaky little things that haven't been purified so far, body, speech, and mind together. So the white, the red, the blue together simultaneously from the Omar Hall, curving in an arc, entering my 3 places, can purifying me of all delusions and subtle obscurations to omniscience. And my body, speech, and mind become one with the essence of Guru Tara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. And then the next one, so we've established the root Guru. Next one. We've got that established Tara at the heart of Lama Tsongkhapa. So Lama Tsongkhapa, inseparable from our own root Guru, dissolves into Arya Tara, who melts into green light, and that dissolves in through me. And then we recite the mantra, which is the next one. So this is showing, so we've got the tum. Antari Tutari Ture Soha. If you go to the next one, I find the next one easier because it's clearer. But yeah, so we think that the mantra, so the mantra is all in the nature of green light, and the Guru Tara's holy body, Guru Tara's holy mind, and that my mind, because she's dissolved into me, it's inseparable from the mind of Tara. So here so it's the mantra is circling around in a clockwise direction here. So we start with the Om at the bottom, and then Tare to Tare, Ture So Ha, each syllable 10 syllables, radiating around all the nature of light. And just to show a different representation of the mantra in the mandala, next one. So it may not be clear enough to you, but you've got the tum in, and then the 8 petals around here. So if we're looking at that, like from above, this is the whole mandala of Tara, and around all the petals on Tari to Tari Turi Soha. So then going through the mantra, Om signifies Tara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. So this is, we see this with all the Buddhas, the Om Ahum, as we've just visualized, all into one, holy body, speech, and mind. So when we're doing the purification of our own ordinary body, speech, and mind, we're thinking, okay, now that's inseparable with Tara's holy body, now that's inseparable with Tara's holy speech, as we said, Tara's holy mind. And then the Tare to Tare Ture contains the essence of the Four Noble Truths. So we've got those there. Next. So Tare signifies the release from samsara. Tara, the female one who releases, Tara the liberator. So this one's showing Tara's function, the help that she gives us to release us from samsara, freeing us from all suffering. Next one. To Tare, this is that vow that she made to release sentient beings from all fears. And that resonates in the actual 21 phrases. Tara frees from the 8 fears. So we're going to look at that fear by fear. Next one. So dispelling, Tutare, dispelling fears. The female one, Tutare, who cuts off or dispels the 8 fears or dangers, stopping each inner fear, which is, we use this analogy of an outer danger. So the outer danger is represented by all of these. So ignorance, and it's interesting because, normally we think of ignorance in terms of the pig, isn't it? Poor pig. Here it's the ignorance is the danger of the elephant. If we think about an elephant in rage, or as Jetsuma Tenzin Paba says, an elephant in a drunken wild elephant in a rage, a drunken wild elephant in a rage stuck in a rut. Just to give you an idea, that sort of embodies it, doesn't it? Hatred is the danger of fire, and we can think of that in terms of extreme anger. It's very hot, right? Attachment is the danger of water. Pride is the danger of the lion. Jealousy, the danger of the snake. Wrong view is the danger of the thief. Doubt is the danger of the demon. Miserliness is the danger of chains. you know, sometimes in the text where you hear the danger of elephants, fire, snake, and you sort of go, yeah, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Don't be literal.
Don't be literal. So here we go to the next one. So these verses that are coming up in relation to the 8 fears comes from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the first Dalai Lama, Geshe Zopa, in his composition called Lectrina. And so here he says, you know, okay, we have the danger of the lion, dwelling in the mountains of wrong views of selfhood, puffed up with holding itself superior. It claws other beings with contempt. The lion of pride, please protect us from this danger. So we can see it's really about this, our own inner danger. Yes. Pride, yes, yeah.
So, random.
I know, well, maybe, yeah. I mean, of course, they say the lion because the lion's the most fearsome one to be feared in the animal realm. They were already the pride of the lion. Yeah, pride of lions. The pride of lions.
Something like if we don't deal with our pride, it multiplies into a pride of life.
Go for it. Yeah, use it. Works for me. I mean, the clause of contempt works. Like, oh, okay.
It's spot on stuff.
It's spot on stuff. Okay, then the next one, the elephant, not tamed by the sharp hooks of mindfulness and vigilance. So this is where that analogy is used, you know, in the 9 stages of meditation, where we see that, you know, the elephant, wild elephant, and the poor monk trying to grab, you know, with mindfulness and not getting anywhere near it. Please come in and pay your respects. Welcome. Where are you from? From Bhutan. Welcome, welcome. This was offered for our Tara altar from Bhutanese Lama for us. So please. Okay. Not tamed by the sharp hooks of mindfulness and vigilance, dulled by the maddening liquor of sensual pleasures. So we can resonate with this, right? Yeah. It enters wrong paths and shows its harmful tusks. The elephant of ignorance, please protect us from this danger. Next one. Driven by the wind of inappropriate attention. In other words, our attention, you know, if we think about the wind taking us, because we haven't gathered the energies into the central channel, we haven't gathered the energies inside. So it's being dispersed in all directions. Billowing forth, swirling smoke clouds of misconduct. So obscuring, it has the power to burn down forests of goodness. The fire of anger, please protect us from this danger. Next one. Please. Lurking in its dark pit of ignorance, unable to bear the wealth and excellence of others, it swiftly injects them with its cruel poison, the snake of jealousy. Please protect us from this danger. So I tried to get the ugliest images I could.
That's a good one.
Roaming the fearful wilds of an inferior practice and the barren wastes of absolutism and nihilism, they sack the towns and hermitages of benefit and bliss. The thieves of wrong views, please protect us from this danger. So we can think of course, here it's the thieves of wrong views, but we can also think about, you know, we talk about, you know, when the toxic emotions hijack a moment. And so then there's no rationality there anymore. It's just total confusion. Next one. Binding embodied beings in the unbearable prison of cyclic existence with no freedom, it locks them in craving's tight embrace, the chain of miserliness. Please protect us from this danger. Sweeping us in the torrent of cyclic existence, so hard to cross, we're conditioned by the propelling winds of karma. We are tossed in the waves of birth, aging, sickness, and death. The flood of attachment, please protect us from this danger. Especially at Christmas time. To search high and low for this one. Roaming in the space of darkest confusion, tormenting those who strive for ultimate aims, it is viciously lethal to liberation, the carnivorous demon of doubt. So this is doubt tending away. So we have doubt tending towards, that's a good doubt, like, I'm not sure, but I'll go with it. Then we have sitting on the fence doubt, which is called two-pointed doubt, because you're not actually going in either direction. But this, particularly the carnivorous demon of doubt turning away, that dismisses the idea of karma and so forth. And we have to really look at that, I think, at very subtle levels sometimes, because we say, of course I believe in karma, but then how do we act? Do we act from that belief, or do we act from our not so good habits? And, not necessarily consciously thinking it's inconsequential, but not realizing how much we have to guard our body, speech, and mind, how careful we actually have to be, All right, so they're the 8 fears. So connecting them so that they actually relate to us. And then Ture, release from disease, from physical sufferings. She also benefits by releasing sentient beings from mental diseases, the 84,000 diseases of the disturbed and unsubdued minds and their karmic actions, so the results of that. So, of course, we talk about this in terms of the 84,000 afflictions. And generally, when we're looking at minds and mental factors, we talk about the 51. And so we have 20 of the non-virtuous states of mind. And then we look at the non-virtuous, the main ones and their subsidiaries. And so they're just like summary form. Can we name 84,000 afflicted states of mind? Probably not, but nor can we name the 84,000 antidotes that the teachings, we talk about the 84,000s of the teachings that address every single afflicted state of mind that we have. And so that's why the Buddha was the most profound psychologist, really. All the subtleties of, if you ask even the positive psychologists, I'm sure they can't list quite so many. So the Buddha was able to. So Ture, the true cessation of suffering, by actualizing the true path, realizing nirvana, release from samsara, and in enlightenment within one's own mind. And then Soha, so I've written the Swaha because that's the one that, what do you call it? Transliteration. Lama Zopa Rinpoche, looking at how it's pronounced in Sanskrit, and he likes to transliterate it according to the correct sound. It's actually Swaha, and it is. If you hear people like Hindu people who are going to be saying prayers in Sanskrit, and you hear that Swaha, so meaning so be it. May these ideas take root in my mind. So we go Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha. Swaha. Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha. Or, as it says, in between the Om and the Swaha, or Hum is the deity's meaning, or the signifying the path. So, for example, you've got Om Vajrasattva Hum. So, depending on the actual deity. Hello. You needing some help? Oh, Susan's there. Yeah. Okay. All right. So containing method and wisdom of the path. So conjoining those two. We actualize the method and wisdom, purifying our body, speech, and mind with oneness with Tara. So we'll just stop there and actually do the practice, shall we? Radio, it's time. All right, so having already taken refuge at the beginning of the session, just sit in a conducive posture, feeling well grounded to the ground below, literally to the earth, providing a stable support through the floor, through the mat, through the chair, through the cushion, through the soles of your feet, through your pelvis. You can feel the weight of the pelvis just relinquish to gravity. Letting your body come to a state of balance. The spine in its natural alignment, not trying to force anything, but enough to just allow yourself to settle, to relax into this posture. Bring your attention inwards, withdrawing our attention from dispersing to all those sights and sounds around. Settling in the rhythm of your breath. And visualize above the crown of your head a lotus and moon disk. And upon these is seated the great treasury of compassion, Aryatara, mother of all enlightened beings, who is oneness with my own kind root Guru. So by establishing that oneness, we make this practice one of real devotion. My Guru is seated in the full lotus position within a transparent bubble of a rainbow-coloured light. He's pink in complexion and wears the saffron robes of a fully ordained monk and a golden pantit's hat, signifying the tradition of Lama Tsongkhapa. His right hand is at his heart in the gesture of teaching the Dharma and holds a vajra and the stem of a lotus, so blue upala lotus that blooms beside his right ear. His left hand rests on his hip, holding a bell and the stem of another blue upala flower that blooms beside his left ear. And my Guru's heart is Aryatara in female aspect, green in colour, and seated in what's called the dancing posture within a rainbow bubble. So her left leg is bent up, her right outstretched. Her left hand is at her heart in the mudra, symbolizing Buddha Dharma Sangha with ring finger and thumb holding the stem of the blue upali flower, and the three other fingers upwards, representing Buddha Dharma Sangha. Her left hand extended over her right knee in the mudra of granting sublime realizations, palm outwards. And she's beautifully adorned with the jeweled ornaments and scarves, as we just looked at previously. And at her three places, the brow, the throat, the heart, the syllables Om Ah Hung in the nature of light. So white Om, red Ah, blue Hung. At her heart is a lotus and moon seat, on which stands a radiant green syllable Tum. Rays of green light radiate in all directions from the Tum, going out in all 10 directions. North, south, east, west, the intermediate directions, up and down, so radiating in all directions, invoking all the enlightened beings of the 10 directions. So streaming out, and they transform in the aspect of Aryatara, and they come back in and facing forwards, dissolve into Aryatara's heart and become one with Aryatara. So it sort of magnifies all the power, compassion, wisdom of all the Buddhas into the aspect here of Aryatara. And from our heart, we can make that aspiration for Tara to always remain above my crown, guiding me until I attain enlightenment. Then we make the request to Tara, please bless me to purify all obscurations, all non-virtues of my body, any harm that I've done since beginning this time on the basis of my body, so that my body will become, in essence, one with Guru Tara's holy Vajra body. So visualizing that white light emanates from the Om at Tara's brow and curves in an arc and enters your brow, your forehead, and streams down into you, that white light, throughout every cell of your being, always down to the tips of the toes, all the way up to out to the extremities of the fingertips, filling you up entirely. And as you're purified completely of all its obscurations, you transform and become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra body. Really feel that. And then request, please bless me to purify all obscurations of my speech, so it becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. Red light emanating from the Aryatara's throat curves from above your crown in an arc to enter your throat. Your speech is purified completely of all obscurations and becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. So that I think any harm that we've done since beginning this time, we can call to mind any harm we have the tendency to with our speech, that we find it hard to purify, gets completely purified. And any harm we've done since beginning this time, in whatever life we've had, whether it be as an animal, a predator, a hell being, in the God realms, whether it be hell realms, whether it be human, gets completely purified, and we enhance the power of speech so that it becomes one with Guru Tara's holy Vajra speech. Completely pure. And that red light streaming, continue to stream in from Aryatara's throat through to yours, purifying the power of your speech. And then make further request, please bless me to purify all obscurations of my mind so that it will become one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind. Here visualizing the blue light emanating from Arya Tara's heart above the crown of your head, curves around in an arc entering your heart. And your mind is purified of all obscurations, all those 84,000 afflictions, all our root ignorance and confusion and so forth, completely purified. Our tendency towards negative thoughts, self-judgment, judgment of others, our toxic emotions, everything completely gone and dissolved by this power of this blue light. And the space of your mind becomes one in essence with Guru Tara's holy Vajra mind, limitless clarity, luminosity. Abiding there in stillness. And then a final request. Please bless me to purify all delusions and the subtle obscurations to omniscience. So we've purified the afflictive obscurations and now the obscurations to omniscience, the very subtle imprints on our mind stream, so that my body, speech, and mind will become one with Guru Tara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. So visualizing simultaneously the three colored beams of light emanate from the Om Ah Hung syllables from Tara above the crown, curving in an arc, entering my three places, the brow, the throat, the heart, and disperse throughout the whole of my body-mind continuum, purifying all delusions and the sneaky, subtle obscurations that haven't let go, obscurations to omniscience, getting into all the nooks and crannies, purifying it all, so my body, speech, and mind become one with essence with Guru Tara's holy body, holy speech, and holy mind. Really feel that, be that. And then calling to mind that Arya Tara above the crown of her head is at the heart of the root guru, inseparable from oneness and covenant. Root guru, Tara. And the root guru dissolves into light, which melts into Arya Tara, who melts into green light, which flows down through the crown of your head, filling body, speech, and mind, filling every atom of your being, flowing down into this radiant, pure, cool, green light. Pandira forest green. Instantly, all your wrong conceptions of I, myself, mine, all phenomena, that they're all self-existent from their own side. It's completely dissolved. We realize they're dependent arising. Everything is dependent on causes and conditions. That all dissolves together with my dualistic mind. All my opinions, my views disappear, become completely empty, not even a trace remains. and abiding in that space, whatever understanding of emptiness in this empty state, with a wisdom indistinguishably one with Guru Tara's blissful, omniscient mind. And out of that emptiness, my wisdom mind manifests instantly as Aryatara's holy body, seated on a lotus and moon cushion at my heart, another lotus and moon. In the center of that stands the syllable tum, surrounded in a clockwise direction of the syllables of the mantra. So tum in the middle, as we saw, and then surrounded by the mantra Om Tare, Tutare, Ture, Swaha. The tum and the mantra are manifestation of Guru Tara's holy mind, inseparable from my mind, totally united with Tara's. Feel that, be that, me, Tara, one. And then visualize green light radiating from all the letters. So we've got the tum in the middle, and then on the outside of the mendis, they're circling clockwise of Tara, Tutara, Tura, Swaha. And that light radiates in all directions and purifies all the negative karmas, the gross delusions, and subtle obscurations to omniscience of all sentient beings. So we can think those, people, maybe people or beings that we have particular connection with, or particularly, they're unwell or they're struggling or so forth. We can think of those in Gaza area. Look at those in Ukraine, surrounding countries. We can think of people we know and so forth that we want to engage this practice, offer this practice to, and think that they too dissolve and arise as Tara. And all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in all 10 directions are extremely pleased and shower down all the superlative qualities of Buddha Tara's holy body, speech, and mind, the omniscient wisdom, supreme power, infinite compassion, like a great shower of light rays and nectar that absorbs into you, so that we recite the mantra, Tara's mantra, and feel we're being blessed by this great shower of light rays and nectar dissolving into us as we recite the mantra and radiating out towards others. Om Tare Tutare Ture Swaha. 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 As we continue to recite the mantra, continue to hold in mind all those beings we're engaging in this practice for, hold them in our heart. Feel that they're transformed by the power of our practice. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu. So we can gather together all that energy that we've generated, gather and keep those that we've offered this practice for in our hearts, in the heart of Tara. And we can dedicate all this energy and quickly become the Arya Tara and lead each and every sentient being into her enlightened state because of these merits. May the Supreme Jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. So that practice is FPMT, a short practice of green Tara. If you want any of these slides of the practice, I can email. Yes, please. Yeah, and liturgy. Yeah. Everyone. Okay, so that I think is a good time to pause and have our lunch break. Is there any comments that people want to make? Any observations? Any questions? What? Oh, it was just beautiful. Oh, okay. Yes, that's a good comment to make. Thank you. That's a beautiful comment to make. Okay, so we'll go on this afternoon to look at each, hopefully we get through each of the individual Taras and relating that again to the Lectrima verses and commentary by Lama Lundrup. Just to, as I mentioned at the beginning, to get a richer sense of each of the representations and but also that heart connection, because we recite these praises to the 21 Taras and probably different ones are meaningful to us. And we can engage in these practice differently. There's many ways you can engage in the practice. Just that practice that we did. You can be like when we were doing purifications, you know, white, red, blue, and simultaneous. You can also, while you're visualizing that, also recite the mantra. So there's different ways of doing. We can, you know, each verse of the 21 Taras, we can, you know, focus on just one maybe and recite the Tara mantra. Or we can do, as we do, the whole lot. So there's many different ways we can approach it. There's no limit to the different ways. There's nothing like the right or wrong way. You know, we have these sort of rule books. It's got to be done like this. But there's no real right, wrong. It's engaging in the practice. Yeah. All right. If there's no questions, we'll stop here for a lunch break. Excuse me. So we'll see how we go. If it's 12:30. Maybe if 45 minutes is enough. We'll just see how we go. It depends on if people have lunch with them or not. And as long as we need to go back, I don't know if our lunch is over there. Is anybody staying here?
I'm staying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. we'll fetch and do. We've just got to go back and get it. That's been kindly offered. Thank you. On my prostrate, the noble transcendent liberator. So the first syllable om, as we looked at previously, are make up the om, holy body, vajra, holy body, speech and mind, of Tara. And then it says jetsun. So we have jetsun lama song kappa. We have jetsun ma, like in Tenzin Palmo, for example. So the ma indicates it's a female jetsun. So the J is that explanation of their superior enlightened qualities. So here in the context of Tara, it's saying she's the supreme mother of all the Buddhas. Sun, it means venerable or noble or Arya. So it's got that sense. So she's noble because in this sense here, and this is that she possesses the 3 sets of vows, which is the Pradamoksha vows, the Bodhisattva vows, and the Tantric vows. So that's when we talk about 3 sets of vows, that's what we're talking about. Of course, when you talk about individual liberation vows, there are those of lay and ordained, and, ordained male, female, Getsu Galongma, Rabjo and Getsu Galongma. So 7 sets of those vows. She's Arya, superior being, because she doesn't abide in the extremes of samsara and nirvana, or we would say direct perceptual realization of emptiness, but gone beyond that in terms of being an enlightened being. Because we can say that those who have the direct perceptual realization of emptiness, that have purified the afflictive obscurations, are nonetheless still abiding in nirvana. So we call it lower nirvana to distinguish. Anyway, so she's free of all that. So she's an Arya Tara. So Tara is the liberator because she saves all sentient beings from suffering. So La Chag Selo comes up in a lot of our practices, and here it comes up. So if we look at the individual verses, it's just chaksel, chaksel, chaksel at the beginning. So that's the offering prostration, offering homage, paying our respects. And we can think about it as each time as we're beseeching, requesting Tara to bestow her realizations upon us. And particularly when we go through the individual ones, we can think of that as being, those individual specific sort of qualities of each of the Taras. So in essence, this Omjetsuma Parma Drogmala Chag Solo is saying, I'm prostrating to the one who's the supreme mother of all the Buddhas, who is the nature of the holy body, speech and mind of all the Buddhas, thinking about how she's inseparable from all the Buddhas, how her enlightened activities are benefiting sentient beings faster and quicker than more swift than all the other Buddhas. So in that way, prostrating to Tara, who possesses all those qualities. When I very first went to a Tara puja, and I remember going to the centre, and it was very fast. I loved it, but at the end, the SPC apologised to me that it was so fast. But this is what we do with Tara. But I just thought it was fantastic, even though it was the first time I was encountering it. Fortunately, it was in English. So just now, when I was in Indonesia, I was inspired by the fact that, and I have to say, it's not, none of these things are coincident. That a teacher was there, that there's a lot of Tara energy there in Indonesia. And all the Indonesians that these teachings were going to know the Tara praises off by heart in Tibetan. And that this is their regular practice. And it's not like, oh, well, you know it off by heart. No, everybody does. They do it all the time as their regular practice. So wonderful. Right. So then we're going to look at, of course, in terms of the individual ones. We just come here. Okay. So we'll go to the first one. The first slide. I mean, the next slide. I mean the next slide. Yeah, so that's the first one of the qualities that we're looking at, swift, heroic. Red in colour. So what have we got up there? It's sort of, she's as red as we could get. So we've got a few of them that sort of are red, that, you know, the Tara, just in case you're ever visiting Sydney, at Vajrayana Institute, the mural has the Taras, of course, because it's painted with all their correct colours in the right order, and their names in Tibetan and English written in gold underneath each one. So we will have the verses. They're coming up. So red in colour. So red being the colour of control. So so there is a specific ceremony, as it says, that we invoke this particular Tara, because I was thinking when you mentioned the red Tara, because there's a red Tara practice. So turning back the power of others who are trying to exert harmful power over us, requesting Tara's help. So here we're looking at it in terms of this red Tara. And so the swift here is because her enlightened activities benefiting sentient beings. Oh, it's mentioned that faster, quicker. So swift heroine, as we said before, destroying the host of Maras without leaving any behind. So when we talk about the host of Maras, we talk about the four Maras, the Maras of death, the Maras of aggregates, when it says not leaving any behind, not leaving any behind any sentient beings, but that in other words, if all their Maras are destroyed, then they've attained Arya state. So just backtracking on that, the Maras of death, the Mara of the aggregates, the Mara of afflictions, and we talk about the Mara personified, and everyone wants to blame the personified one. It's their fault. That one out there. But of course, you realize at the end of the day, it's got nothing to do with anyone out there. And this is what the Buddha demonstrated by turning back the Maras, whether they were the violent, angry, hatred ones, or whether they were the seductive temptresses, you know. So they've gone beyond the Maras, not, yeah. And then eyes like lightning, instantaneous, like a flash of lightning, is talking about her wisdom eyes. So we're not talking about anything ordinary in any of this. It's so as fast, as quick as a flash of lightning. You know, we have this saying, your holy body is as swift as thought. That if you think about how swift thought is, we can't conceive that because it comes along without us being aware, and then we're aware. I don't think if they've worked out how much later we become aware of thought, but this is part of when we're doing the cultivating emotional balance training that Paul Ekman and Alan Wallace, and how soon can we shine that light of awareness onto the mind before affliction arises, before anything arises? How quick is that? If you want to know how quick, I think Mathieu Ricard's probably the go-to, because, yeah, he's got a, let me say, a few qualities there. So her wisdom eyes are like a flash of lightning, as fast, you know, because they're so fast, and seeing every object of knowledge. This is the hallmark of a Buddha. everything that is to be known is known by a Buddha. So every object of knowledge means everything there is to know. And she knows that in an instant. Something to aspire to. And then, as I said, sprung from opening statements of the Lord of Three Worlds, Tearborn Lotus. So this is talking about Avalokiteshvara. And if we look at that, the other page, which I've lost there, 192. So there it's translated. Remember, this is the literal translation. So things get changed so that it can fill in and fit into a proper meter for chanting. But you can see it's what's left out there. It says, it says Lord of Three Worlds. Here it says protector of the three worlds. So same thing. So the world of Nagas, the human world, and the world of gods. Okay, so we can also think of that being the three realms, desire, form, formless realm. So either way, there's commentaries saying either way. So it's Avalokiteshvara Chenrezig who's the protector of the three worlds, and that fits into that story of her arising from the tearborn lotus. Yeah, it's got yes, that's right, in that green Tara practice. And then the waterborne sprung from opening statements of the tearborn lotus, or as it says, water-born face arises from the blooming lotus. So whose water-born face is Tara's? So this is talking about that origin story of Avalokiteshvara, right? So it says here that by relying on Tara, one's lifespan will also be increased. So if you want a long life, you'll rely on Tara. And I guess, as Susan asked about white Tara, particularly when we engage in white Tara practice. But there are many stories as well of those practicing green Tara and great beings of the past who had initially had short lives, and then by relying on Tara, by practicing Tara, their lives were extended. But however, we also know the story of Lama Atisha, where it went the other way. Tara did warn him, yes, go to Tibet, it'll be beneficial for the Dharma, it'll be beneficial for the world. However, your life will be shortened by 20 years. So that happened. Sorry, no guarantees. So when we look at the early masters of Tibet, when Buddhism actually took hold in Tibet, and the great Kadampa masters, that all of them relied on Tara. And again, if you think that was the main deity of Atisha, that sometimes Atisha Tara, like we can think like that, then there's no mistakes really. And so also Lama Tsongkhapa and all the Gelugpa lineage holders up to today rely on Tara as their special meditational deity. So, for example, when COVID came on the scene and our lamas started giving us instruction of what practices to do, the first one that we got was to do, by His Holiness, was to do Tara, to do the Tara practice. So at Chenrezig Institute, Geshe Zopa had us all there 3 o'clock in the afternoon, every afternoon, until such point he said, we don't need to do that anymore. Now, don't ask me how. But by then we were also doing all the practices advised by Lama Zopa Rinpoche of doing the Takton Gyalpo prayers. So we had many, many practices to do, and it's like that they know which practice to do for which thing. I just wanted to mention something else about the Tara practice, just from my own experience, that there's when I was at Vajrayana Institute, one of the students came along, her child was going to high school the following year, and I don't know if they do this here, but over Easter it's like if you're living in this area, you have to go to that school and you can't go to that school and all of this. And because her child was wanting to go to where they had arts and was wanting to pursue like painting, drawing, that sort of visual arts, was at another school. And so she wanted to seek Geshe's advice. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, but that's something very mundane. And I wouldn't prevent anyone. I would encourage people to see Geshe and seek out his advice, but they say, don't ask the Lama which school your kid should go to. And I had that in my ears. However, she goes to see Geshe, she comes back down and says, Geshe said to do the praises through 21 trials this many times each day. Can you give me the practice on it? What do I know? And then the next thing I hear from her, he got into the school that they wanted him in. So many stories you'd probably find throughout history. So the next one. So in the verse, homage to you whose face is like 100 autumn moons gathered and blazes with the dazzling light of 1,000 constellations. So the first thing to know is do not take any of these numbers literally. They all mean a lot, a massive amount. So in the chantable version, it says, she whose face combines 100 autumn moons at fullest. So why it says autumn moons, because the autumn sky is very clear, and so the moons are more and more brilliant. But whether it says 100 or 1,000, just visualize as much as you can, as many like the full moon. And if there's that many moons in the sky, it's going to be incredibly radiant, dazzling light. It's the idea. As it says, as 1,000-star collection. So, so this Tara, white as an autumn moon. So this one here, that's as close to white as we get with our Taras. A bit of sort of translucence here. So how these are arranged, we go from the top across, underneath, and then up and top, up and then across and up and through it like that, like a wave, yes. So radiant white, indicating she liberates sentient beings by peaceful methods. So anytime we have white, like Chenrezig, Vajrasattva, and then this white aspect, Tara white as the autumn moon, can purify all mental afflictions that keep us bound in samsara, in cyclic existence. So we could say this one, if we're wanting particularly to focus on purification. So we think about the brilliance of her face being like that moon, not just one moon, but millions of moons, expanding with the light of 1,000 stars. So prostrating to someone who has such a beautiful face, brilliance, splendor, her aspect, peaceful, calming. And said, just by looking at her, all our negative emotions, attachment, anger, and so forth will be pacified naturally. So here again, we can think, when we, of course, raise doubts, qualms as to, well, mine aren't pacified, etc., whatever. If we think that so many people are attracted to Buddha images, and particularly Tara has this pull power that's quite phenomenal. And you've got to think that's the power from the object side. So we talk about the power from the object side, which we only talk about in relation to Buddhas or our gurus, inseparable from the Buddhas, really, because there's the power of what we have to do in our practice. But when that also conjoins with the power of the object side, then we're able to do this. So, you know, it says to visualize these aspects that are mentioned here. We can stop. So when we're doing the practice, like I said, where we could stop and focus on one verse, or even stop after every verse and, you know, call that visualization to mind, and then we can recite mantras, and then we can continue. We can be flexible in how we do it. So it said that, of course, that how she got to have such a radiant, beautiful face and body was due to the practice of patience. And this is what we say, the practice of patience will give you beauty. It'll certainly give you inner beauty anyway. And I think that's what radiates, like we were talking about people coming back from pilgrimage and retreat, and that glow, it's an inner glow. It's not like they've had Botox, you know, it's all coming from the inside. And for example, the patience oriented to the welfare of all sentient beings, uninterruptedly, and observing the practice of ethics, morality, that if we follow in that, we too, even right now, will get such a beautiful, radiant body. And we see this. We see people, as I said, right now, pilgrimage, retreat, and then after a while, the glow fades. But you know, one day, the glow will last forever. I always think about Venerable Namdrol, who's done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I'm not sure how many hundreds of Nyungnes, that's her life practice. And when I saw her after 25, the glow from her body was phenomenal, you know. And then seeing her, like I saw her earlier this year, many years later, and that glow wasn't there. It's not saying there were no qualities there. It's just saying it wasn't so obvious to the eyes. Yeah. So we'll get a perfect body like Tara. Next one. Number 3, golden Tara. So this is praising Tara with reference to the colour of her body, the implements she's holding, and the causes that bring about the attainment of the states of Tara. Homage to you, born from a gold blue lotus, hands adorned with lotus flowers, essence of giving effort, effort and ethics. So patience, concentration, and wisdom. So here we have the 6 perfections. So this is, you know, thinking about, she's the embodiment of all of the 6 perfections. Giver of supreme virtue, gold with a bluish tint. We haven't quite got the bluish tint, but we've got the gold. And her speciality is prolonging life and increasing resources, wisdom, and merit. So in the recited, the chanting version, homage, golden blue one lotus, waterborne, so we know, in hand adorned. Giving, effort, calm, austerities, patience, meditation, her sphere. Okay, so here, so when it says waterborne in hands adorned, it's the hands are beautifully adorned with lotus flowers. So this is where we said in Kriya Tantra, we just have the one upala flower and the other one 2. You are embodiment. Well, actually, when we say the blue is also in the lotus, so that you probably can't see 100% clearly these, but as I said, I can send them, and that might be more helpful. So here, her body, we can think, as it's mentioned in the Medicine Buddha practice, when we look at the golden colour, it's the gold of River Zambu that's said to be very clear, refined, pleasant to look at. So that's what you meditate on this Tara with this verse. So in her left, she holds a lotus stem with a thumb, and we know all that. We've given that iconography already. So we talk about the lotuses or pala flowers being the manifestation of her wisdom. So again, they're not ordinary flowers. And then the 6 perfections is talking about the practices that we need to engage with. So this is the principal practice of the Bodhisattva path, is engaging with, we do the meditations of 7-point cause and effect, and the equalizing, exchanging self with others, our internal practice, and then internal and external is perfecting the 6 perfections over a very long time. So it's acknowledging that Tara has done that, and that state of Tara has come about through the practice of the 6 perfections. And the union of method and wisdom, the combination of great compassion and bodhicitta. So as we go through these, the practice of generosity is not necessarily about having to give a lot. It's that willingness to give. That might be giving of our time, listening to people. That's quite profound. People want to be listened to. You don't have to do anything, just listen. And they feel heard. And then you've got a heart connection with them. But of course, when we are at such a capacity like a bodhisattva who can give their body or parts of their body, even now we might be able to give blood or something like that, giving our possessions, or giving material aid. So now we have the food bank. So that's okay. We can contribute to the food bank. I haven't given all my possessions away, even as a nun, but, we can make a contribution that to others. And we can multiply in that way our virtues, dedicate that to our roots of virtue to others. So it said that if we have a lot of things and give away a lot of things, if we don't do that with generating the mind of that willingness to give, that's not a practice of generosity. But I think, this Christmas time period is that sense of, we embody that in our society. So it is a sense where people want to give. Then joyous effort, perseverance, of course, we're engaging in our practice enthusiastic about the Dharma, about helping others, and engaging in activities of listening to the Dharma, that enthusiastic effort that says, yeah, I put in the effort, but I also just hearing such and such a teacher or such and such a teaching is happening, is this enthusiastic joy effort in the Dharma. And with a sense of, I'm doing this, as we say in our prayers, but really contemplating that so that I can gain enlightenment, so that I can more benefit others. So engaging like that with joyous perseverance. And then the ethics is, of course, restraining from negative actions, restraining from following our self-interest, stopping self-cherishing, protecting our mind from following after the thoughts that grasp at things being self-existence, me, mine. And so forth with the other practices. So the next one. So the number 4 is praising Tara. So these are looking at all the different qualities with reference to the respect shown to her by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And it's just like, well, if the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are going to have such respect, what am I doing? So in the long version, it says, homage to you, Tara, the crown pinnacle of those thus gone, whose deeds are overcome infinite evils, who have attained transcendent perfections without exception, and upon whom the sons, daughters, children of the victorious ones, in other words, the children of the victorious ones are the Buddhas, and their sons are the Bodhisattvas, their sons, their daughters, their children. So here it is, you asked about the Ujnisha, and this is that direct reference to that, the victorious Ujnisha of the Tathagatas, with that golden Ujnisha on top of the head, is the cause of a bodhisattva's great accumulation of merit on the path to Buddhahood. So the great accumulation of merit is through our activities, through our practice of the perfections. Gold in colour, and her speciality is to neutralize poison, increase life, and counteract premature death. So she's looking pretty gold over there. We started out well. It gets a bit, yeah, she's gold. She's gold in colour. What was that? Protuberance means it's sticking up. Stick up, stick out. That protrudes. So it's not a normal crown like ours. It's like Shakyamuni Buddha, this crown protrusion, as it's called. Yeah. She can stop accidents and untimely death. Good for this time of year. I mean, poisoning, we can think food poisoning, we can think snakes, or pick your poison, anything that might cause us to die before our full lifespan, as conditioned by our previous karma has been left out. So she's the go-to for poisons and shortened death, so we have a long life. So crown of Tathagatas, actions triumph without limit, relied on by conquerors' children, bodhisattvas, having reached every perfection. So we can also look at this as that this Tara abides in the manner of being completely victorious over all disharmonious, unfavourable conditions. So if you've got qualms about the family Christmas, this is the one. And all opposing forces. Having abandoned, of course, the afflictions and their imprints. That she has attained all actions without limit. That's what that's referring to, and particularly, each referring back to the six perfections. When you go through each of the grounds of a bodhisattva, each ground focuses on attainment of a perfection. And in that one, that's in that presentation, it's a presentation of the 10 perfections, and so that on each of these grounds, it said that the bodhisattvas will rely on that, rely on Tara. And that's in that line, having reached every perfection. Okay, so the next one. Praising Tara with reference to how she overcomes opposing factors. So this has in a lot of the mantra in here. So we looked at that previously. Homage to you, Tara, with the letters to Tara and Hum. Fill the realms of desire, direction, and space, whose feet trample on the 7 worlds and who are able to draw all beings to you. Or in the chantable version, homage, filling with tutare, hum, desire, direction, and space, trampling with her feet the seven worlds, able to draw forth all beings. So Tara proclaiming the sound of hum, or Tara summoning the three worlds. Gold in colour and slightly wrathful. Her speciality is influencing and subjugating. So notice with all these Taras coming through, even if it may not be super clear, these are their highest yoga, tantra, Sambhogakaya aspect. So that her ability to suppress all adverse factors. So the Tutara and Hum, we refer to the whole of the mantra garland encircling her heart, which go clockwise. And the syllable Hum is the physical form of the realizations of compassion and wisdom in her whole life. Filling the entire cyclic existence of desire, direction, and space with the resonating sound of Hum. So if we're meditating on that, we're filling the whole of space with the resonating of the hum, seed syllable, and the light emitting out from the garland of the Omtare Tutare terrestrial heart. So desire is, of course, the desire realm, and we have all the beings of the desire realm, of the humans, animals, predators, hell beings, God beings, sure as it, the demigods and the superior, so-called gods. Direction refers to the form realms, and space refers to the formless realm. So the idea of that Tara fills the entire samsara through the sound of the syllable hum, at her heart resonating throughout samsara, and hooking all sentient beings for their benefit. So in other words, hooking means being able to control, not in a bad way, but being able to guide, that Tara is working for us all the time, and that thinking that the light rays from her mantra are constantly shining on us, and the sound of the syllable hum, even though we don't hear it, if we meditate on that, we sort of do hear it resonating throughout space. So similarly, we have similar visualizations like in the Nyungne practice with Chenrezig as well. So keeping this in mind, thinking that Tara is always with us, working for us, and we relate to her in this verse. Praising Tara, next one. Praising Tara with reference to how even the greatest worldly gods worship her. So we had the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas worshiping her. We've got even worldly gods can see her qualities. So that's the reference. If you look at the chantable version, it says, homage worshipped by the all lords, Chakra, Agni, Brahma, Maru. So we're talking about Ishvara, the host, and honoured by the host of spirits, corpse raisers, Gandharvas, Yakshas. So here, the victorious over the three worlds, we can say the three realms. Ruby red, I think this is where we went a bit awry. We're still good. Ruby red. This did quite a good job. I kept moving Tara's around. The light in particular, so the auras are a blue gold, and they're painted. It will mean that they stand out more from the wall, but particularly having the light. So at the moment we're having a discussion about whether the lights come shining through, that's one way, because they shine through at the heart. They look alive. And the other way we're looking at was up lights, but I think I like the shining through, because it's like she's alive. You can, this heartbeat's happening, and yeah, it's quite amazing.
So just rather than if the light is just
Yeah.
It creates to be less of.
Yes, if the lights behind, that's what we have experimented with. It's like it's coming from her, and that's what we want. We want it sort of glowing out. So I think that's going to. Well, we have experimented with different lights, and we need to revisit that and get them happening. Yeah, because it looks great when we try that. Like, have we got any of those round ones with the LEDs in them?
There was light.
Yeah, does that work? Yeah.
And it's just.
Just sort of normal way, is it? No, there's no normal way. Maybe it hasn't got batteries. Maybe it has to have the. Oh, well, it is the normal way. This is alternating lights.
Oh, like a string.
Well, it's red and it's like a red and amber. It's like stop. It hasn't got go.
These are too tall to put behind.
So put that behind it and see anyway. It'll be a weird light, but at least.
Oh,
yeah, it's a bit odd.
Trying.
Is there any up at the heart?
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
No.
Be close to the wall.
Yeah, they do move though, slowly. Yeah. Not that one. I mean, yeah.
Steady.
But it does, yeah, it doesn't quite do it. We've got to get the right light, and we don't want strobe. It's got a usual conventional thing on the side.
Oh.
Switch. It's got a switch. Ruby red, or can be reddish black, purifying obscurations and negativities, praising her because the worldly gods offer their respect and service to her. So we have those names, Indra, Agni, Brahma, and there's other ones as well, which are called there's 10 of them, and they're called the 10 directional protectors. So we do have directional protectors like that, particularly like we were talking about Yamantaka earlier, when we get to Ice Yoga Tantra, have the, so we can think of their protectors of cardinal, intermediate, up and down. Yeah. And the host of different classes of spirits. So we have all, like, we talk about the spirits that in corpse raisers, Gandharvas, Yakshas. We talk about in spirits that, for example, inhabit trees, and that's why, when people go outside to smoke and they disturb their habitat, and that it can affect people's minds. It does affect people's minds because you're disturbing the environment. You're disturbing the habitat of beings just because you can't see them. But if you think about trees, there are a lot of beings there we can see. And we're giving them lung cancer.
Have they got lungs?
Birds have lungs, don't they?
I
mean,
of the beetles.
Oh well, yeah. I haven't done my vet course yet to know what.
Yes, birds. I was thinking about those big black spiders that live under the mud.
Yeah. So when when they talk about the Gandharvas, Yakshas, where is it? Course races, Gandharvas, Yakshas. So it's like each of these worldly gods have their own entourage of these beings. So the idea of this is that if we have faith and conviction, belief in Tara, we won't be harmed by those interferers, either human or non-human, the different classes of spirits, because they're all venerating and taking refuge in Tara, so they're not giving harm. If we have a Tara statue at home, we're getting the same benefit. The thing is, from our side, is our conviction that we are getting that benefit. So if we don't have that conviction, that faith, and on top live an unethical life, not keeping vows, we're not going to receive any benefit. It's not like it's magic from Tara's side, and no matter what you do, it's a dependent arising, just like those holy beings who had a direct realization of Tara is a result of a lot of practice that they've done. It wasn't just, I mean, one of us can have that direct relationship with Tara. Remember at Kopan, in front of the Tara there in the forecourt of the main Gompa, and because they said, she was a talking Tara. Well, she'll talk to doesn't mean she wasn't talking, it just meant I wasn't listening or wasn't able to, too much coarse, whatever stuff going on. So consequently, if we do live an ethical life, if we do have conviction in Tara, we won't be harmed by different kinds of spirits. I always think in relation to that too, and then, of course it's a karmic thing, but when the bushfires come, unfortunately when they come, and some places are burnt to a cinder. So I've got to share this story. I was just in Sydney, and I visited the Dharma Cloud Monastery in Blue Mountains. So I just think the main nun there, she's, apart from a great visionary, is a living bodhisattva. And so when the fires were threatening, so it had neighbours on either side, and when the bushfires were threatening, she made requests actually to Kuan Yin. She made requests to Kuan Yin, may the fire ripen on me, may it come here, and please protect the neighbours. And if we have to bear the consequences, so be it. Don't affect the neighbours. And so the fires came, the neighbours' houses were fine, but the fires came and stopped at their boundary fences, all around. So the four sides all around, but the monastery wasn't affected and nobody in it was harmed. Isn't that amazing? So same with Tara, we can have that power. Our practice can have that power. Yeah. Okay, next one. Homage to you, whose tray and pay. So here it's written differently in our book, but that's how it's pronounced, tray and pay sans. Destroy external wheels of magic, or destroying foes' magic diagrams. Perfect pressing left out, right in, right left, right leg drawn in and left leg extended out. So this is the one who has her left leg extended out, not in the set that we had, because they're all in the same representation with their right leg out. But you'll see, like, for example, at Vajrayana, that this one was drawn with her left leg out. Blazing in a raging fire blaze. So standing amidst this raging, I was just talking about bushfires. It's not a bushfire. Of course, what we see when there's a blaze of fire around a wrathful aspect or wrathful deity, it's the blaze of wisdom, right, that burns the seeds of ignorance. So black and fierce. Yes, she is black. Her speciality is power, the transference of consciousness to Akanishta, Pure Land. So that, we talk about this in the Guru Puja, where it says, if I have not completed the practice by, the time of death, it says by the, may I be transported by the transference of consciousness. And so if we have a close karmic connection, like people get really interested in power. Oh, well, just do power for me. Like, I won't do anything myself, just do power for me. And probably won't work, just like you haven't, engaged anything to make that connection. So, we can have lamas who know how to do power practice, but unless we have that karmic connection with them, it's not going to benefit us. So we do have to do our own practice. But anyway, this one has that power. So it said that she's able to, with the tray and pay sounds, overcome, it says, magic diagrams. We're talking about black magic, with sort of to destroy the different kinds of black magic. Just uttering pay from her holy mouth, able to liberate and destroy all the black magic opposing forces. So the 2 syllables, she's able to destroy instantly, as it says there, the black magical wheels of others. So all curses, evil intentions. So it doesn't have to be some weird other, it can be very conventional, evil intentions towards you by someone. Any of that harm directed towards you. Voodoo. What else do we do? Weird societies, stuff like that. So her 2 legs, like, is suppressing all the black magic and curses, and the raging fire burning up the black magic and curses, so there's not even one atom left. So having the right leg bent and the left outstretched is a peaceful posture, but this, she's slightly wrathful because of this, as I said, the wheel of fire. So that will always say this is a wrathful energy. So basically, if we find our mind, our body affected by some, we usually say spirit harm or forces of black magic, or if our house is maybe inhabited by ghosts, we can visualize this Tara in the wrathful, slightly wrathful aspect in the wall of fire, and ask her to pacify all the harms. So it doesn't have to be a house, it can be any sort of place where the energy is malevolent. So, for example, I was talking the other day to a nun friend whose mission is to go to the places in Australia. I said, are you going to all? And she said, maybe not all, where there have been massacres in relation to our past with Indigenous people, and to, offer pujas, offer practice. So this would be a great one to do for that. So she's able to so it said that this fire, her inner fire, comes out and destroys all those harmful influences in the environment. And at the same time, it transforms the minds of the harm givers, which is why they're prostrating to her, by offering them love and compassion. So it's really good to remember that. So if we, Kidoki, next one. How are we going? I'm intending to have a break here. Would we like a break?
You go another 10.
Go another 10. Yeah, good stopping point. Tara who crushes all Maras and bestows supreme powers. Homage to you, whose Ture destroys the great fears, the mighty demons. With a wrathful frown on your lotus face, you slay all foes without exception. So in the chantable version, it's homage, Ture, very dreadful. So wrathful frown, very dreadful. No, sorry, that's not right. Destroyer of Mara's champions, so the mighty demons. She with frowning lotus visage, so her face, wrathful frown. Who is slayer of her enemies? You slay all foes without exception. So praising this fierce. So here now, like the previous one was a bit wrathful. This one's fierce. Sambhogakaya. Golden in colour, sitting on a crocodile. That's very Australian, isn't it? Yes. Fierce. Please don't try this one at home. Around the bush. Fierce, her speciality is the completion stage practice of highest yoga tantra. So when we take a highest yoga tantra practice, we engage in practices that is called the generation stage. So the generation stage is where practicing to embody that Buddha that we will become. And then there's many levels of the generation stage, and of course in subtle levels of generation stage, and there's a whole bunch of teachings on how you know when you've achieved any of the stages. And then the completion stage is about actually being able to do that, right? So this is where Tara's actually able to do that. So praising Tara with reference to her wrathful aspect, how she purifies all the Maras and the two obscurations. So Ture, the expression of her holy speech, with the roar of the sound Ture, she destroys the mighty demons completely. So here it's destroying the Maras who are extremely difficult to subdue, that didn't get subdued by the previous Tara. And this one is the Mara of the afflictions. That's the hardest one, isn't it? Amongst all the different Maras. And the waterborne face, of course, the lotus. So her face likened to a very big lotus, however, in frowning aspect, wrathful aspect. And with that aspect, she's able to completely eliminate all external enemies or demons, which are Maras. Next one. Tara, granter of boons, or Tara, wheel, governing and granting all desires. We always have qualms with this granting all desires. We have this in the Four Immeasurables where it's like, you know, Geshe says to offer all that beings desire and need. So on one level, our lamas are very skillful in granting our desires that might be like putting up a storm or, you know, being nice to you, and, hook you in and boom, now I've got you. So on one level, yes, there can be that. But we can also say that it's our, granting our aspirational prayers to attain enlightenment. So homage to you, bountifully, beautifully adorned by the three jewels gesture at your heart, as we've said, that mudra at her heart is the, with the three fingers up, is the granting of refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Your wheel shines in all directions with a whirling mass of light. So she's ruby red, praising her mudras, left hand in the mudra gesture of the three jewels, and uniting. So we've got Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and uniting compassion and wisdom. So her speciality is consecration, or if we're having to consecrate or bless a house or child or anything, any objects. So here we think about Tara being in nature, by nature, the three jewels, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Her holy body symbolizes the Sangha jewel, her holy speech symbolizes the Dharma jewel, and her holy mind symbolizes the Buddha jewel. And then at the same time, as when we meditated regarding Tara as inseparable from our own precious Guru. So we think the holy body of our root Guru is inseparable from Tara's holy body, which is also the Sangha jewel. The holy speech of our own root Guru is inseparable from Tara, who's also the Dharma jewel. And the holy mind of our root Guru is inseparable from Tara, who's also the Buddha jewel. We can also think how our Guru is also the embodiment of all the enlightened activities of all the Buddhas. We see this with the Dalai Lama in the world. We've seen this with Geshe Zopa Rinpoche. We see that now with Oswald, who's running that back down in Bendigo, and just hearing his talk on Thursday, it was just like, wow, this is truly, truly amazing, truly, truly amazing. Maybe one more and then we'll stop. And then we're pretty good to go. Homage to you, radiant and joyful. So Tara dispelling all sorrow, Tara the conqueror of the three worlds. Homage to you, radiant and joyful, whose crown emits a garland of light. You, by the laughter of Tutare, conquer demons and lords of the worlds. So this is homage. She's so joyous, radiant, crown emitting garlands of light, mirthful, laughing with Tutare, subjugating Mara's devas, dispelling all sorrow. So she's red. Her speciality is destroying Maras, controlling the world of sentient beings, and fulfilling all wholesome wishes. So this is, when we talk about desires, as we were saying before, our aspirations, our wholesome wishes, our wishes to attain enlightenment, our wishes to engage in Dharma practice, particular practices, to be guided by Tara. She will help fulfill all our virtuous aspirations, instructing us on how to create the causes for happiness, liberation, and full enlightenment. And here it says, her ritual is for entering the mandala. So when we take an empowerment into a particular deity, and we saw the image very quickly of Tara's mandala, you enter in through the eastern gate and you're guided into that by the deity. The deity takes you by the hand and brings you into the mandala. And there's a whole lot of other things that go on, but that's what happens at the very beginning. So we're thinking here, we're seeing that her crown ornament, her Ujnisha, very joyful, magnificent. She's able to generate joy in all who have faith in her. And for those that don't, she's able to overwhelm them with her splendid crown ornament. So thinking about Kadrala again, when she visited Australia and was at Vajrayana Institute, it was my job to put her headset on. And there was one that went over her head like this, and I'm sort of respectfully standing. And then I was just overwhelmed like this by this beauty of her hair, with the kingy hair. And I was like mesmerized. And I had to say, come on, people are waiting, snap out of it. And it was like, okay, well, people are waiting. You're standing there sort of about frozen in midair. Like that. That's what it's like. With her laughter, that is the sound of the mantra to Tara. So when we're saying that sound, we can think the laughter of Tara. Isn't that delightful? That's very joyful. So she's able to subdue Shiva, the lord of the desire realm, and his entire entourage. So the idea of, for us to receive all the blessings, for our wishes to be fulfilled, comes the main cause of that, of course, comes from our own conviction, our own belief that Tara can fulfill all our wishes. And that, this, by virtue of our practice, it pleases her holy mind. So it said that when we're ever engaging in practice, the Buddhas are showering down blessings on us. They're just so joyful. So we can think as we're engaging our practice that we're receiving the blessings of Tara. Okay. Oh, let's stop there and have a break. It's a good place to have a break. It's about 10, 11. Excellent. I'm trying to do 3 things at once. It's not a test, it's just if you have anything to say.
So because there's all these different taras,
Yes.
you can go through and recite all 21.
Yes.
But if you've got a particular issue
Yes.
that you're trying to deal with,
Yes.
you could choose to focus on one of them.
Yes. And you don't have to recite all the 21 in that unless you have a commitment to recite the 21 phrases. If one has that, you do that, but then you can still focus on that one. You can either go through, stop at that one, and then continue on, or you can just zone in on that one. Right? So, and meditate on that one, and for as long as and then recite the mantra.
Same mantra. But
And
you meditate on the aspects of that one.
That's right, the aspects of that one. You could even decide for the whole practice, you meditate on the aspects of that one.
And that would benefit when you
for particular. Yeah. Or on the way to the family Christmas, or is that where we're going here? Something like that. Okay, so
that's number 11. I think
number 11 is where we're up to. Perfect. So this is Tara, summoner of all beings, Tara, dispeller of all misfortunes, Tara, the treasure of wealth. So the colour of dispelling all misfortune, the colour of darkness. So this is where it goes a bit awry. Number 11 up there is not exactly the colour of darkness, but so be it. Homage to you with power to invoke the assembly of local protectors with your fierce frown. So it gives you an idea, fierce frown and vibrating hum. So we know this is a wrathful aspect. You bring freedom from all poverty. And you can see the fire aspect as well. So here, if I look at it, sorry, I'm just looking, it's my numbering wrong. Oh yes, all earth guardians is being shaken from misfortune. So in the Tibetan, if we look on page 158, and it's Chagsel Saji, like when we say Saji Perki. So the Saji refers to the earth. That's the place of all sentient beings, ourselves and all other sentient beings. And then within that, we're talking, it says, invoking the local entire assembly of local protectors or all earth guardians assembly. So it's about protectors of the earth. So these are the holders, sustainers of the earth. So in this aspect, hooks back all those protectors and their entourage to accomplish various activities. So her face is wrathful, shaking, frowning with her home sign. So that's clear that she's frowning. And that hum at the heart is countless iron hooks are emanating in the 10 directions and summoning all the good things, longevity, wealth, possessions, and so forth. And able, therefore, to eliminate the poverty of all sentient beings. So we say that this is the job of bodhisattvas, is to hook sentient beings. You know, we talk about the hook of your compassion, you know, when we talk about the Guru and Guru Puja, you know, saving with the hook of compassion. So this Tara, we can think when we're experiencing financial difficulties, poverty, you know, we could think of this Tara. To not necessarily for ourselves, could be for others. We could think of the homeless people, we can think of all those to benefit and make requests to Tara to eliminate our poverty or the poverty they're experiencing. And of course, when we talk about poverty, there are many different forms of poverty, right? Of course, there's financial wealth, poverty. We can also have poverty in the Dharma. For example, those who don't have access to the Dharma. And not that they've chosen not to have access, but they just don't have that access. Or we can think about ourselves and the poverty of realizations or particular spiritual experiences and think, oh, okay, not experiencing those. So Tara, so this aspect of Tara, and we pray to her, meditate on her. So we visualize that the hum, light rays, go out in the aspect of the iron hooks in all the 10 directions and hook back all the good things, dissolving back into the syllable hum in the form of light rays and nectar that dissolves into you. And of course, visualizing that all other sentient beings, especially those with difficulties. I mean, there's so much homeless around. I'm just reading this morning, you know, people set up camp. It was a one woman,
With
9 children, and then they have to keep moving because you can only camp for 28 days. And it's like,
And it's hard to find anywhere that you can.
and that's
28
because
days
they
to
can't,
walk.
they can't find somewhere else to live. And it's just, it's pervasive, isn't it? It's not, it sort of reminded me of, what do they used to call it? Happy Valley. Happy Valley here, Happy Valley there was
During the Depression.
during the Depression. And sort of, and it's like we're experiencing that same thing right now. So this can be for that. And then, of course, if we think about what the causes of poverty and think about for ourselves, the miserliness, and think that all those obstacles are being removed, miserliness, the tendency towards that. And that miserliness also can be in terms of the Dharma or of anything else that we have wisdom about but not sharing and not willing to share. Anyone in academic professions might know about that. They are really, yes, very singular, yes.
Strong attachment.
Yes, and about, it's my publication or protection or whatever goes on. And yet we've got all these qualities like an inexhaustible treasure, and thinking that, so that we receive poverty mentality, yes, because I will miss out.
I don't have enough, so I can't share with you.
And I think we saw the poverty mentality right at the forefront with the referendum campaign, because it was like everybody's experience, whatever that was, of that being ignored or not having enough food or not having home, issues that are not being addressed all came forward. So here we would do this practice for that benefit, focus on this Tara.
So is it the ruffle one?
Yes, yeah.
So
Generally, but not always. Like the slightly ruffle ones don't. It's the ruffle aspect. So here, from here on, it's more the ruffle aspect that we're encountering. Yeah.
So that's a good sort of marker.
Yeah. Because we won't always see that. Like we might see that there, but also the fire of the wisdom fire is also not always, because you've got Vajrayogini. Yeah, it's not always actually. Yes, no, it's true. It doesn't pervade.
Because I was also wondering, because to me it was like she's actually standing up.
Yes.
Rather than seated, and that maybe she's like stomping that. Is that one where you said earlier she's holding down? So it's like adding, they're not holding down as well. We're standing,
Pressing. Pressing.
So like, like lifting out from the seat.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so then the next one, number 12. Tara, giver of all prosperity, Tara of auspicious light. So otherwise known as yellow Tara. Okay. Maybe that's what I put up there. The one on the right there, the one up the top there. Yeah, that's her. So at Kunsang Yeshi Center in Katoomba in the Blue Mountains, Lama Zopa last time there advised them to have a yellow Tara, 2 life-size, 3 life-size. Anyways, yellow Tara and Maitreya. So the 2, they've got the yellow Tara now installed. But at the time, the nun who was the director said that they were in a rental premises, and they still are in a rental premises, just a different one. And it had a low ceiling. And she was sort of saying, Rinpoche, but we've got a low ceiling. How can Tara be? And Rinpoche said, it's okay, she can be sitting down. It's all right. So we think of this like abundance, wealth, like that. That's yeah. So anyway, and just to mention, with a lot of, you know, there's descriptions of the Taras being, well, we talk about 16 years old in the prime of youth, but being full-breasted. So some years ago, Rinpoche indicated for the nunnery, Magic Labdron, I could forget, in Bendigo for white Tara. And so the white Tara was being, you know, constructed. And then Rinpoche was always, no, her breasts have to be fuller. Her breasts have to be fuller. Her breasts have to be fuller. And so she's got really big breasts. And when they were having the long life puja for Rinpoche and presenting the Tara, you know, there was a bit of a blockage in the lineup. And so white Tara was directly in front of Rinpoche for quite some time. I know, because I was just standing by them. She was very full breast. But it's that thing of, this is the sustenance that she gives to sentient beings, and she's got to give a lot of sustenance. So it's thinking in that, this is why.
Like a symbol of generosity.
Well, yeah, she's got a life-giving, feeding sentient beings, literally. So that's that, you know, abundance, giving.
I wondered about this, so I'm glad for this.
No, but that's what it is. It's logical, isn't it, when you think about it, and think about it with a pure view, not with a ordinary gaze. It's very different, isn't it? Yeah. We praise her crown ornaments. From her crescent moon crown ornament, white light radiates and illuminates sickness, suffering, sorrow, poverty, depression. So this is a peaceful aspect. Following this yellow light radiates from her crown. So first of all, you've got the white light. White light's always purification and illumination. So that's what you've got here. And following that, the yellow light radiates from her crown. And you can think of it as golden as possible, like really rich golden yellow from her crown ornament, and performs the actions of increasing. So if we look at the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, the 5 wisdom Buddhas, Ratnasambhava, is this, the yellow aspect is the aspect of increase, enhancing sentient beings' lifespan, merit, wisdom, and good qualities. So also wealth. So that's this particular aspect. And then I'm just looking. I have to look a bit more closely at the image. Yeah. So it says in the chantable version, homage, crown adorned with crescent moon, right? All ornaments most shining, Amitabha in her hair knot. So it's just looking there so we can visualize Amitabha. So Amitabha is red. So Amitabha is above Chenrezig, above Tara. So because Tara's lotus born, so this is the lotus family. So those deities of the lotus family will have Amitabha as the big boss Buddha above the crown of their head, just like you know, when Chenrezig had those tears and had that moment of despair, because he said that, you know, if ever I have that despair, may my body split into 1,000 pieces. And that happened. And Amitabha saw that as an act of immense bodhicitta, and then put Chenrezig back together again. Try not to think of Humpty Dumpty, I'm sorry. But with it, and that's why we've got the 1,000 arms, 1,000 eyes, etc., etc.
More skillful names.
Yeah. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. It's because we're talking about children's stories. All because of that, yeah. So she's got a halo of light behind her head, and actually we'll have to work out how that will be like the auras, but you can say they all have. Her crown is adorned with a crescent moon, like on the first day of the lunar calendar is what it's described as. So check that up next LOSA. ornaments exceedingly bright with the white light rays, eliminating all the suffering. Her hair is very black and shining, tied up in a top knot. Amitabha, from Amitabha Buddha, light rays of different colors emanate out, performing the activities working for sentient beings, and that we think that Amitabha, Tara, Guru, inseparable when we're visualizing, meditating on that. So this is one that if we're not feeling well, we're unhappy, we're frustrated, we're stressed, so pretty much all the time, visualize this Tara and make requests to her, and visualize the light rays and nectar coming from the bodies of Tara and Amitabha and inseparable from your Guru, entering your body and mind, purifying whatever problems, unhappiness, illness, and so forth. And at the same time, receiving the blessings of Tara's holy body, speech, and mind. So very beneficial to engage that practice. All right, next one. Number 13. Tara, the ripener, bestower of maturity. We need a lot of her in the world today. Homage to you who dwells in a blazing wreath, like the fire at the end of this age, we say at the end of the eon. Your right leg outstretched and left drawn in. Joy surrounds you who defeat hosts of foes. So here in the chantable version, homage, she made wreath ablaze like eon-ending fire abiding. So the fire at the end of an eon is the most brilliant fire, and we've got to think about it as being a fire of wisdom. I think every time I think fire and think bushfire, I've got to transform my mind into thinking wisdom. Right leg, right stretch, left bent. Joy surrounds you. Troops of enemies destroying. So she's ruby red, standing. Her speciality is to subdue the hindrances, protect from fear and danger, completely confident, free of all anxiety and fear. Absolutely your mascot. So praising her fierce posture of standing in a blazing fire blaze. So it is predicted, that at the end of this world system will be destroyed by a blaze of fire. And as we experience more and more warming, global warming, we can see that we're heading in that direction. And but not, sort of like we ain't seen nothing yet, that it can be a lot of time. But that prediction also by His Holiness at the time of when COVID, after COVID, diseases, that we've never heard of before, then famine, then floods, then wind, and the wind propels the fire. So yeah, this is what's happening. So this massive fire is the fire of exalted wisdom, and the idea that this Tara is able to destroy a host of outer and inner enemies by turning the wheel of Dharma. Of course, the inner enemy is our afflictions, our negative emotions, the outer enemy, humans, non-humans, problems, difficulties that arise. So rely on this Tara. She can pacify everything. Number 14, Tara, the wrathful summoner, or shaking, frowning Tara. Now, we've had a few shaking, frowning Taras. There are a few of them. Homage to you whose foot stamps the earth and whose palm strikes the ground by your side. With a wrathful glance and the letter hum, you subdue all in the 7 stages. Or homage, she who strikes the ground with her palm and with her foot beats it, scowling with the letter hum, the 7 levels. She does conquer. So here, hand on the ground by her side, pressing the heel and stamping the foot on the earth. So her hands in a threatening mudra. It's got a few of them. But this suppressing the entire world, and stamping on the earth refers to Mount Meru and the 4 continents. In the ground. I was just thinking of in Tana, in Vanuatu. They have a Tana dance where it's sort of like circles within circles, concentric circles, and they're all stamping and the ground shakes. It literally, you could feel it shaking. It's very, very powerful. So from the blue syllable hum on the palms of her hands and soles of her feet, fire and countless vajras are emanated. And then they go the 7 levels beneath the earth, destroying all the nagas, demigods, gods, Lord of Death, and so forth. So these are talked about as being different levels below the earth. And if you go think, the further you go down into the earth, the hotter it gets. So sometimes there's reference to this is the portal to the hot hells and so forth, going down further. But also actually scientifically, as they've been able to measure further and further down into earth, they found more and more sentient beings down there, further down that we weren't aware of. I wonder if they'll identify, oh, there's a hell being. There's a sorry?
China.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did see. Let's hope they're safe. Yeah, true. So those beings harm other sentient beings by causing sickness and so forth. Even we're not thinking beings, then was thinking, I mean, I'm doing a bit of few segues here in my own mind, but it's to make it connect for me, you know, that our Aboriginal people like around Woomera and so forth in Central Australia were very aware of the big poison, as they called it, and to keep it in the ground because it was toxic to human beings. So they didn't mind because this is dangerous. And you think, what great wisdom, not having all the scientific knowledge of Western science, mining and science and so forth, and yet knowing this is going to cause sickness. So if you think about it like that, it's sort of like subduing those forces. So the fire and countless vajras destroy the negative minds and the wish to harm others. Tara pacifies their thoughts of harming others and subdues whatever power they have to cause problems, rendering them harmless. So again, this is one, if we're harmed by nagas or spirits, we have had previously, relying on this wrathful aspect. So more powerful previously, it was a peaceful aspect. So the hum in both her palms and the soles of her feet, blue syllable hum, which we had an image of earlier today, enter into us and all those who are giving harm. And then when we receive these blessings from Tara, as a result, our minds and those giving harm are completely pacified and purified and become very clear, very pure. In other words, pacified means peaceful mind. So it's extremely beneficial if we're experiencing such harm, or we could do on behalf of other people, you know, when particularly people are delusional due to the imbalance of the winds in the body. Very good. So all this section up to here was looking at the Sambhogakaya aspect, and then we looked from verse 15 onwards in relation to her Dharmakaya aspect, truth body, which is not actual physical body, but her wisdom mind. We're looking at the wisdom mind of Tara. So here we have Tara, the great peaceful one. Homage to the blissful, virtuous, peaceful one, object of practice, nirvana's peace, perfectly endowed with Soha and Om, Swaha and Om, overcoming all the great evils. So as we said before, between Om and Swaha, you have the whole of the practice of the path, the whole development. In the chantable version, it's homage, happy, virtuous, peaceful. She whose field is peace, nirvana. She endowed with Om and Swaha, destroyer of the great evil. It's white in color, an external cleansing or purifying ritual. And her speciality is to pacify destructive karma that can cause suffering and prevents realizations of the path to enlightenment. So praising her speech and her dharmakaya mind, and all her actions are done within the peace of nirvana. So this is not wrathful aspect, this is peaceful aspect. She's, so we say happy, virtuous, peaceful. Happy because she has no suffering. Virtuous because she doesn't accumulate the causes of suffering. In other words, virtuous. Peaceful because she doesn't have any more afflictions. And pass beyond sorrow, of course, is having achieved the enlightened state. We say that in the Heart Sutra, we've gone beyond sorrow, a state. So it's an abandonment of the two obscurations, afflictive obscurations, and the more subtle obscurations to omniscience, cognitive or knowledge obscurations. They're tendencies towards the imprints in the mind, even though we've purified the coarse level of afflictions, those subtle levels. So that's all being purified, and always in meditative equipoise within the sphere of peace. So here you remain two arms sitting in meditation mudra. And then comes the recitation of the mantra. So due to the wisdom of her meditative equipoise, due to the power of her wisdom, the mantra manifests. So she's in meditative equipoise. When they say that, it's meditative equipoise on emptiness. So the wisdom mind is manifest, and out of that, the mantra is manifested, perfectly endowed with Om and Swaha. So, of course, we've got Tari Tari Ture Swaha. And so we visualize her, and then while we're visualizing her, reciting the Tara mantra, and thinking that even the negative karmas of immediate retribution, we say the 5 karmas of the uninterrupted actions, which is that without the separation of a life, in the next life you will be propelled to hell rooms, killing father and mother, drawing blood from a Buddha, because you can't actually kill a Buddha, you take different forms, drawing that blood from the Buddha with malicious intent, because you don't use a Buddha, and killing an arhat, and causing a split amongst the Sangha. So we see that one, I think, happening in the world today, where we see the corruption of the Dharma, or being used. You can't actually corrupt the Dharma, but being used to split groups of Sangha. So in our tradition, it's very much about those practicing thubten. When His Holiness Dalai Lama has advised against it because of its negative forces. Right? And so rather than follow that advice, feeling like, oh, we've got the right way, and then not realizing that it's actually very harmful. So that can be a very destructive force in the world. So here, visualizing this Tara and reciting the mantra, and thinking all those 5 uninterrupted karmas are completely abandon the negative karma of abandoning the Dharma. So that's a very heavy negative karma. What's the most heavy negative karma? Sort of going against the Guru's wishes, bad-mouthing the Guru, anything that gives harm to the Guru, because we separate ourselves from being able to meet with the Guru. It's not from the Guru's side, it's from our side. We realise the harm we're doing as a result of anger, attachment, and so forth. So here, the Dharmakaya aspect, we think that Tara's holy mind is always abiding in that meditative equipoise within the sphere of peace. So this is one of the qualities of a Buddha, to be able to always abide in that meditative equipoise while at the same time engaging in enlightened activities for the benefit of others. So she's perfectly able to perform activities to benefit others spontaneously, effortlessly. At the same time, her meditative equipoise is effortless, spontaneous. Something to look forward to. So for us, we're either doing one, we're either in meditation or we're engaging in the activities. We can't do both at the same time. So only a Buddha can do this. Very, I'm going to say, efficient. It means that the mind, the union of in one mind of that compassion that propels the enlightened activities, or bodhicitta, and the mind of wisdom. So in one, arising in one mind, whereas for us they're not, it's not of one mind yet. And then homage. When the computer starts doing things online. Homage to you, so Tara, destroyer of all attachment. Homage to you with joyous retinue. You subdue fully all enemies' forms. The 10-letter mantra adorns your heart, and your knowledge, gives liberation. So this one, coral red in colour, exemplifying the power of mantras and cuts harmful thoughts that impede the increase of positive energy, so our harmful thoughts. So the activity of both peaceful and fierce mantras, and when she teaches the Dharma through the action of her speech, all afflictions are pacified. Doesn't mean that Tara teaches and all our afflictions magically vanish. We wish. Rather, from our side, we sentient beings respond to the teachings and put them into practice. And then as a result of that, they will cease. While Tara can guide and instruct us, we need to make effort to cease our afflictions and develop our good qualities. As we know, as the Buddha said, I can't implant my realizations into you. I can't wash away your afflictions. I can teach. I can guide you. So it talks about the peaceful and wrathful mantra. So we know the peaceful mantra, Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha, around the syllable tum. And there's a wrathful mantra, which is Om Nama Tale, Namo Hare, Hare Swaha. So that's around the syllable Hum. So when we look at the wrathful ones, there's more a reference to the syllable Hum. And then the wrathful mantra, Om Nama Tare, Nama Hare, Hare Swaha. And so we think of the light rays radiating out from the mantra garlands, both peaceful and wrathful, liberating us from all enemies and obstacles. So this is when we need rites of pacification, pacifying certain diseases like COVID, spirit harm. So we can visualize Tara with the syllable tum, surrounded by the peaceful mantra and receiving her blessings. When we need to engage in wrathful activities ourselves, we've got to have that difficult conversations, or there are obstacles from humans and non-humans harming the teachings or harming the lives of the Guru. We visualize the Raffle mantra, Tara with the syllable hum at the heart, surrounded by that mantra, Om Namah Tara. Namahale hum hare swaha. Okay. If we're in that situation. So next one, Tara, accomplisher of all bliss. I mean, some of these, their names, the epithets, their names are very attractive, aren't they? Accomplisher of all bliss. I'll have this one, thank you. Homage to Ture, with stamping feet, whose essence is a seed letter form. You cause Meru, Mandara, and Vinja, and all three worlds to tremble and shake. So this one is orange. Her speciality is to bind thieves and eliminate the power of black magic mantras. This verse praises her fierce activity of shaking the three worlds below. So, and then this earth, like on this earth, and then above the earth. From the primordial sound, hum appears Ture, meaning Tara, and her pounding feet make everything in the external world tremble. This is what happened when Shakyamuni Buddha was born. You know, the earth trembled, the world trembled. So this indicates her power, the power of the Buddha's enlightenment activities. Okay. So normally when we engage in deity practice, we generate ourselves as the deity if we have the empowerment and visualize the deity. So first we do that, you know, before we do that, we do a purification into emptiness, either instantaneous or through the dissolutions of the death process, one by one, and then arising in the form of the deity. And then the seed syllable of the deity transforms into the deity itself. So tum, and then as we had in that meditation, arising in the form of the deity. So here we have that arising in the seed syllable hum, which transforms into Tara in a raffle aspect. So we can also think about the three worlds as the different mountains that are abodes of different Nagas, gods, and so forth. Really, any earth element in a way we could think of. So she has the power to shake those very powerful mountains and all the beings that live in them. And this is to weaken their power, to harm others, or to weaken their thoughts wishing to harm others, to render them powerless. Okay. Next one, Tara victorious. Homage to you who hold in your hand a moon-like celestial lake. Saying Tara twice and the letter Pe, you dispel all poisons without exception. This Tara is white, and her speciality is to dispel diseases caused by Nagas, such as leprosy, tumors, boils. So we also have Naga pujas. You know, I remember a friend whose baby was covered in like sores, and the Geshe said to do Naga puja. So often when skin diseases, we do Naga puja. So we also have this Tara aspect. Pacifies diseases caused by poisons, toxins in the environment, air pollution, and food poisoning. So this praises her activities to dispel those so in the chantable version, homage, holding in her hand the hair-marked moon of Deva lake form. Hair-marked moon, I mean, we talk about the man in the moon. Tibetans talk about the rabbit in the moon. So,
You can see it. You can see it, can't you?
the rabbit?
Yeah. Have you seen it?
I have to look for the rabbit. I can't see the man. I see a moon.
The smile,
The smile, yeah.
but the rabbit's there.
Yeah,
And in the northern hemisphere, it's different.
yeah. It's northern hemisphere
It's
thing.
true.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
I think it's great. It's wonderful.
Anyway,
Yeah. Hairmite moon of Deva lake form with tri-spoken Tara and Pei, totally dispelling poison. Okay, next one. Tara, consumer of all suffering, or Tara, invincible queen, number 19. That's it. Homage to you, on whom the kings of gods, the gods themselves, and all spirits rely. Your armor radiates joy to all. You soothe conflicts and nightmares as well. So she's white in aspect, and her speciality is to free all poison, praising her activity of dispelling conflict, which is a lot, bad thoughts and nightmares. Relying on this Tara when we're depressed or if we have suicidal thoughts is very effective in overcoming such disturbing emotions and thoughts, or someone else as well.
I think it helps someone else by doing
Yeah. So, yes, why not? So here we have homage she whose gods and their kings and the kinnaras do honour. Amen all joyful splendour. She dispels bad dreams and conflicts. So the assembly of gods is the ones of the desire realm. So again, Indra and so forth. Worldly gods such as Brahma all pay respect to Tara, and reciting her mantra and meditating on this aspect with her splendor and brilliance, able to eliminate quarrels, disputes, fights you're having with others, all bad dreams will be eliminated. Thinking that, you know, what happens when we have bad dreams or nightmares, our mind becomes very disturbed, doesn't it, if we're caught up in that space. So when we get into disputes, lawsuits, problems with others, we need to be able to pacify those by relying on this aspect of Tara. There is also a practice of Geshe Tala, mantra of Geshe Tala, which is also for court cases, law disputes, and so forth. But in terms of Tara practice, visualize this Tara in the space in front, red light rays and nectar coming into you, pacifying all nightmares, bad dreams, whatever problems you're facing, disputes, quarrels, so forth. And all the different problems with all their causes are completely purified, not one single atom remains. So very helpful to do this practice at those times. Okay, next one. Number 20, homage to you whose eyes the sun and moon radiate with pure, brilliant light. Uttering Hara twice and Tutara dispels extremely fearful plagues. COVID. People, I was talking to them about, there are people who constantly refer to COVID as the plague. Yeah. So this is Tara, the source of all attainments, orange in colour. She grants the power to make ourselves invisible. That's a bit handy. We can work on that. Her ability to dispel fevers and epidemic diseases. Just as some illnesses drag on, so does cyclic existence. Drags on, flares up. Yeah. She frees us from both uttering Hara twice, means reciting the fierce mantra, Om Nare, on, as we said before, Om Namatale, Namahare, Hare, Soha. And uttering Tutare means reciting the peaceful mantra, Om Tare, Tutare, Turisaka. So in this one too, you're reciting both of those. So when we are ill, relying on the fierce and peaceful aspects of Tara, reciting their mantras are helpful. Also good for, shall we say, pervasive illnesses, cancer, AIDS, the new diseases, COVID, so forth, environmental pollution, and illnesses difficult to cure. So having, what do we say, chronic illness that they say. So from the wrathful aspect, the eyes are likened to the blazing sun. When the eyes are in wrathful aspect, and you see this with different Buddhas, they're big, round and red. Seen those sort of big sort of, it's like you see the gargoyles in Christianity on the churches to scare people away, like that. The light radiating from them is hot. From the peaceful aspect, the two eyes are likened to the round moon. And when the eyes from the peaceful aspect, the light radiating from them is cool. So we can think of that as we're reciting the different mantras. So as we're reciting the mantras, we can think the light rays coming from Tara, purifying ourselves and all other sentient beings from all these diseases, difficulties, problems, get completely purifying. Okay, and the final praise, praising Tara with reference to how she destroys spirits and zombies. I have to say, in this day and age, I don't get the zombie thing. I don't know what it is.
Like there's some external thing that you could see.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can put.
I don't know this whole sort of zombie thing in the world. If anyone understands it, please.
Oh, but there is the I was going to say, it's not the same with the Hungry Ghost.
Yes.
But then there is I've seen it in America, an actual drug that they called the zombie drug, where I don't know what the substance is, but literally they're walking down the street.
Totally.
Like zombies, and they will, they'll go on a nod or go just halfway like this.
Yeah.
Their body just sort of pauses. And
so,
then there's term, this is already just, this has been happy this.
That's what she's saying. Yeah. So this is Tara the Perfecter. Homage to you, adorned with three natures, perfectly endowed with peaceful strength. You destroy demons, zombies, and yakshas, Atare, most exalted and sublime. In the chantable version, we have homage, full of liberating. Power by the set of three natures, destroys hopes of spirit yakshas, saying, and raise corpses, which are the zombies. Supreme, Ture. So Tara the Perfecter is white. Her speciality is taking practitioners to Akanishta, Pure Land in this very life. It praises her activity of subduing evil spirits and zombies. Her three natures, so got a great name for that then. Her three natures are her body, speech, and mind, appearing as Om at her crown chakra, R at her throat chakra, and Hum at her heart chakra, pacifying internal poisons such as the afflictions and external interferences, non-human being spirits who take away the power of medicine, the power of our body, or the power of food. So we see that, we're in a time too, apart from people not being able to afford the food and increasing drought and floods that result in a scarcity of food, hence the price goes up, etc., etc. But also the power of food itself is something the Buddha predicted in the Golden Light Sutra. It talks about extensively that, when crops cease to flourish. And so the nutrition from the crops also, we're talking about making offerings of the, cooked vegetables, because you know they're the real deal. They haven't been, you know, they haven't been injected with water or modified in some way to make them look, for some reason, aesthetically beautiful, whereas in their natural form, you can sort of go, that looks more delicious to me because I know it's the real deal. You know, if you see apples like growing on trees and you see them in the supermarket, you don't always compare, contrast, you know. So this Tara is very effective in dispelling mental illness due to spirit harm, spirit interference, which a lot of people experience, seems to be increasingly. So we visualize here, we can, you know, visualize oneself as Tara, and at the crown, a white Om, throat, red syllable A, and the heart, a blue syllable Hum, as we did in the meditation. And meditating on those 3 syllables at those 3 places, all the faults and negativities of your body, speech, and mind get completely purified. In other words, you destroy the host of evil spirits, raised corpses, and yakshas. White. Yeah. So, yeah. So we can visualize that we're helping other sentient beings purify all their negativities and obscurations, and imagine them arising in the form of Tara's enlightenment. And in this way, we can benefit others. So we always think, how can I benefit others? Of course, there are the day-to-day activities that we can do to benefit others, but also by power of our visualization, the more sentient beings that we can visualize, the more we're visualizing benefiting them, the more it's transforming our mind, enhancing our bodhicitta. And so we then very quickly accomplish the accumulation of merit. Okay, then the praise at the end. We'll stop after that, I think. There's more to go on with. The last 2 lines are, these praises with the root mantras and prostrations thus are 21. So the root mantras, as it says plural, refers to those both peaceful and wrathful ones. And plus the 21 verses of praise, 21 homages that we have done along the way. And so basically bringing all that to conclusion. Praises with the root mantras and prostrations, thus are 21. So that accumulation of practice. So we haven't got time for the, there's a, we haven't got time for that. There's a, where is it? The benefits of the practice. You know, those who recite this at dawn and so forth. So there's a separate commentary on that one. Where is it? It's in the Silver Book, Prayers of the Benefits, page 183. Whoever is endowed with devotion for the goddess, Tara, and recites this with supreme faith, remembering at dawn, upon awakening, and in the evenings, will be granted all fearlessness, will perfectly pacify all negativities, and will eliminate all unfortunate migrations. The multitudes of conquerors, of Buddhas, will quickly grant initiation. Thus endowed with this greatness, one will eventually reach the state of a Buddha. If affected by the most terrible poison, whether ingested, drunk, or from a living being, just by remembering will one be thoroughly cleansed. If this prayer, so it's talking about the praises to the 21 Taras, is recited 2, 3, or 7 times. So when we do the puja, we do the 2, 3, and 7 times. It says, so here it says, if it's recited 2, 3, or 7 times. So in your practice, you can recite 2, 3, or 7 times, or you can do more. Sky's the limit. It will pacify all the sufferings of torments caused by spirits, fevers, and poisons, and by other living beings as well. If you wish for a child, you'll get a child. If you wish for wealth, you'll receive wealth. All your wishes will be fulfilled and all obstacles pacified. So that completes for today some very brief commentary on Tara. I mentioned that there's a lot more, like there's a commentary on this. Of course, there's a lot more. So one can refer to Lama Lundrup's, Khenrinpoche Lama Lundrup in Praise of the 21 Taras, to, as we've been looking at here, that's taken from thubten Chodron's Tara commentary, just How to Free Your Mind, Tara the Liberator. And then there's another one, I think, called Tara the Liberator, the one I mentioned by Martin Wilson with 2 L's. And there are many other commentaries. So you can look on also Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archives and commentaries by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Yeah. So it's like, but hopefully that's enough to start to appreciate a bit more, because when we come and do puja, it's also fast, that you haven't got time to think about any of these taras at all. But in our own practice, we can take the time with a particular one. So if there's a particular tara that's resonating right now, you might want to put your name on it. I'm not saying you have to. You can think about that. And so, yeah. I know there's a few go, oh, but yes, that one. Oh, but yes, that one. Oh, but yes, that one. We can all share. Tara's abundance knows no bounds. Okay. So we'll leave it there and we can dedicate. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Choice, you've got one of those. Thank you. So I think for our dedication prayer, if we're still got our silver books at the ready, page 189, down the bottom, the dedication prayer. So here we have another epithet for Tara, Pagma Droma, so literally Arya Tara. And when we do particular deity practices, we substitute their name into the dedication, and so with Chenrezig, it'll be Chenrezig. And so this is what we say here. Through the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Arya Tara and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. And why not do the verse of auspiciousness? Everything Sarvamangalam, or be auspicious. Like a wish-fulfilling tree and a fortune jewel vase, you are the wish-fulfilling treasure, granting all desires and fulfilling all hopes. O conquerors, Mother Tara, and all conquerors with your children, take care of me and grant me the auspicious signs of increasing virtue. Okay, and then we can turn to the long life prayers. I actually have got one. Is anybody needing also the swift return prayer? Anyone needing? Okay, so we'll do the long life prayers of His Holiness and Osel, and may everything go very beneficially for Australia, with Osel leading the habit alignment key in Bendigo, having done in Mexico, in New Zealand, Australia, and then next year in Europe somewhere. So it's not happening too many places, and how blessed we are. Okay, starting with His Holiness. the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparably kind and Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Page 23, Long Life Prayer for Tenzin Osel. Lord of Dharma, who in accordance with the various dispositions of those to be subdued, makes clear in the light of your well-spoken advice the sacred Ganden tradition, essence of Buddha's teachings. O foremost and holy Lama, to you who are supreme, O Lama, please, please live long. And you know, the more I think about the work that Osel's doing in terms of environmental awareness, but particularly the trees, Global Tree Initiative, just think, wow, yeah, this is really important time in the world. And this habit alignment key is about, you know, it's about restoring our inner elemental balance and the external. There's no separation between the two. So, and I rejoice in our friends from Bunbury who are there so that we can vicariously hear about at least hear about the experience, absorb what we can. Okay, so a prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, by His Holiness Dalai Lama, peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious One Shravakas and Prajika Buddhas, victorious Losang Father and Sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands. Please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings. Through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. So now I pause before that last line, because I saw, and I've heard other people say, you know, that it also was like, we grasp at having the guru and we say, quick, take rebirth quickly. And of course, Osho, along with others, just let him have a break. Just, you know, and so it's like, yeah, swiftly return, but it's okay if you don't, you know, it's like qualm either way, right? It's,
I still said that fairly soon after.
Yes, yes. Actually, when he first, I think, gave a talk after, because also it was very interesting because he has had that experience of being thrust into the limelight as a 2-year-old, and then all eyes on you. And he would, the other thing he was saying, he said he begged, he said to His Holiness, please, please, for the first 7 years, the reincarnation, leave the reincarnation, just be a child. Because it was something he didn't experience of just being a child, you know. And said, please, just let me be, because those formative years, you know, by the age of 7, according to Piaget and whoever else, like you're starting orienting out to the world. But up to 7, there's very much that, you know, mother, father, family, you know, this is your source of nourishment and growth. Growth.
It's where you get your solid base.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, anyway, he's put in that request. So if we don't hear anything for 7 years, but even if we do, you know, like, for example, I was thinking when Punsol Rinpoche was recognized, but there was also prior to that, I've forgotten her name, the girl, Scottish woman now, but she was kept, people knew she existed, but she was kept hidden from the limelight because of her particular sensitivities. Lucky her, in a way, you know, it's just like you can just get on with it. Right? So anyway, whichever way it goes, not to be despairing if we don't hear anything for a while. You know, it's just like, Well, it's Holly said to do this and we'll check again in 6 months. So what's the verdict? Where? When can we go? Yeah, I've been doing it. Must be a result. Oh dear. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for today.
So, that's what I've been